The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Get $40 off a furnace or AC tune-up, or double your savings and get $80 off when you get them done at the same time. Visit standardheating.com to save now.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
There are people who say, I'll try anything once. I have to admit, that's not true. For example, I will not try glory hole. Call me old-fashioned, but I prefer to have my relationships fall on that middle ground between marriage and having no idea who's me.
A new report shows that South Korea now has the world's lowest birth rate, despite the efforts of South Korean entertainer Nick Can-un.
A new study claims Fremont, California is the happiest city in America, while the saddest city in America is once again Puppy Grave, Indiana. Flacco, the beloved owl that escaped from the Central Park Zoo, died last week after he flew into a building. Flacco will be remembered for his famous last words, "Oh, cool, another owl." KFC has introduced a new item that's a combo of fried chicken and pizza called Chizza, though they warn it could also cause a combo reaction called vomiria.
Let us begin.
It's showtime. Isn't this just great? Just great. Welcome to the Half-Ass Morning Show. Hope everyone had a magical weekend. We hope it was just the... Josh, what? I saw a listener texted in to wish you a happy chili dog day, chili dog week, I think.
I looked it up. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is today a chili dog-related holiday, or was that listener simply referring to how today is just another day where a figurative chili dog needs to be sucked?
That's what I thought.
Which has become a metaphor for a day's work being completed.
Because I thought Chili Dog Day was actually in July.
Yeah, it's the last Thursday in July. Everyone knows that.
All right, so he's referring to sucking today's chili dog.
I believe so.
Which is...
That's my impression.
Like everyone says that now, let's suck the... All right, fine. Let's all collectively suck whatever we need to. As best we can today, and we'll go from there. How was your weekend, Josh? You told me a terrible story when I walked in.
I did?
Yeah.
I forgot already.
You told me a terrible story.
Oh, about that I painted?
Oh.
I hate painting.
Oh, that's the worst.
And my wife, bless her heart, is so bad at it.
Oh, really?
She paints angry. Just like fast motions back and forth, and she rolls too hard. Not enough paint here and there.
It's splattering everywhere.
I don't even know what direction she's going. Even worse, she doesn't know what direction she's going.
Is it because? Painting. Here we go. Here we go.
I should have called you.
Yeah, I would have loved to do it.
I don't understand it. Ashley, my freaking wife, she's the same way. I don't know what's wrong with her. I don't know what's wrong with you. And you two are not alone. I've heard other people say that. Oh, I like painting. I don't understand how anyone in their right mind can enjoy that activity.
It's satisfying. Like at that, once you're done.
That's what they say.
You're like, look at that. That looks nice.
You're right, but it's not worth the effort.
No. There's other ways to gain satisfaction in life than doing manual labor in the house.
Now, do you think that your wife sucks at painting because she knows, oh, God, this is the worst friggin' do-it-yourself project on earth, and she just gets mad right away like normal people do? See, that was my problem. What year is it now?
2024.
26 years ago, when I got my first, decent-looking place to myself. I had some garbage townhouses and apartments that I didn't care to do anything to because they were garbage. When I finally got a semi-decent place, I got it in my head I was going to paint a room or two. And I did, and oh, God help us, I promised myself. I got on my knees and I promised I will never do anything like this ever again.
Yeah, I'm good for a while.
And I've stuck to that. Because it is so frustrating and tedious, and the taping and
the taping.
And then you're like Wapple was saying, oh no, on this stroke I had too much paint. Oh, on this one I had too little, and you got to keep going back and forth. I hate it and I've never gone back to it.
But splattering all over the place.
So do you think That's why your wife sucks at it, because she knows this is miserable and I don't care.
Yeah, she doesn't like it, that's for sure. She's only done it once before, which, if you look at what she did, is quite obvious. So I had to go over her parts, and then one of the things, I think we painted too dark, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
You didn't want to hire somebody?
Oh, I did want to hire somebody.
Who talked you out of it?
We had a deadline. I had to get it done over the weekend, and so we just decided. I asked my wife, do you know anybody that really enjoys painting that we could just and beg them to come over this weekend? And she didn't know anybody.
Should have called my friggin' stupid wife.
I didn't know that about her at the time.
Yeah, she and her best friend, they just giggle their whole way through it. I don't understand it.
Did you just have to do a bedroom, or did you have to do like a stairwell?
A stairwell? Oh, just because you're saying how high it is?
Yeah, because that's brutal too. Once you have to start getting on the ladder, moving the ladder around, you're up high. Oh, I hate that.
Here's what I got in front of me, Cubby. I'm sorry for what you had to go through, and it sounds like you're not even done yet.
Well, I just got a little bit of touch-up. We're pretty much done, but unless we decide to make it lighter. Oh, terrible.
Oh, man.
When you started talking about that, when I walked in this morning, I decided to look some things up on the godless internet. The best and worst home do-it-yourself projects. And, I mean, look at you. You look miserable.
In what way? Just the effort or home, how much your value is of your home?
They factor in everything.
Okay.
According to a website called, this sounds like someplace you'd hang out for a few hours, todayshomeowner.com. I can see you hanging out there.
Maybe I've read an article or two there.
You probably have. They factor in the difficulty of the job, the time it takes, the cost to do it yourself, as opposed to if you hire a professional. They factor in everything. So,
Pro Painter Jesus checked in, and I got to say, that is a skill. Sometimes you watch a painter that doesn't do any taping, and they do it perfect. I can't figure that out.
That's insane.
I mean, it was over tape. It was ridiculous how much I taped, and I needed it because after a while, I got tired, and I'm like, I just used the roller and hit the ceiling. But luckily, I had over-taped, and I was good to go.
The current house I live in, I'd rather sell the place than tape. I really would. I would move out.
Have you seen those guys that can, perfectly freehand a straight line? It's
no.
Whoa, dude, are you kidding me?
Vertically Challenged Jesus said she loves painting. I'll paint the S out of anything.
Maybe it's a ladies thing. Maybe it's just a ladies thing. There's something about that satisfaction of a perfectly straight line. And like Ashley said, the satisfaction of looking at the room when it's completed, knowing that I don't know.
You might be onto something, because Carissa has texted in, says you usually don't like painting when you're no good at it. That's for sure. I'm no good at it. 21-year union painter here, female. Give a shout out to Women in Construction Week.
Women in Construction Week?
I didn't know it was Women in Construction Week.
That's awesome.
Happy Women in Construction. Our buddy Big Bearded Jared said his wife loves to paint.
Yeah, it's a chick's thing. So, painting interior rooms, which is what Cubby was doing over the weekend, was considered the third best home improvement project for do-it-yourselfers. When you factor in, at least according to the website, the difficulty of the job, the cost to do it yourself, the hours, and there are a couple other things that really aren't necessary to get into, but the third best. I don't get involved in any of it. I really don't. I'm at a point in my life, and I reached this point a long time ago, where I have nothing to prove to anybody. I don't care if it's something that I can or can't do. Now, mind you, the list of things that I can do is much shorter than can't, meaning the skill set involved. Long time ago, I decided I want nothing to do with any home improvement project. I will always hire someone else to do it. And there's a lot of my buddies who just can't fathom that. They're disgusted when they find out that I hired someone to put in a fence as opposed to doing it ourselves or myself. I hired someone to put carpet in the they're disgusted by me. They have some element in them that I never got, where they need to prove that they don't need anyone. Not my thing.
I got a person coming for carpet.
I know a carpet guy.
Too.
Yeah. Hell yes, that's a skill.
Yeah, it is.
So
it's not like something you can just do on your own if you got weird angles and estimating it. Like even the paint guy yesterday maybe we did something wrong, but he misestimated how much paint we need. So that was 2 trips to that place.
My fiance yesterday, actually, she said, should we paint this bedroom? And do you like this color? And I hate the color. It's some weird looking tan brown. But I didn't want to have to paint it, so I said, no, I think it's fine. This color is great.
You love it.
And she goes, are you sure? Because I love painting rooms. Like, I would love to paint it. I go, yeah, no, the color's terrible. We should definitely paint it if you're going to be the one doing it.
More proof it's a ladies' thing. So
this person enjoys body painting. Oh, I love body paint.
I've never tried that
That might
before.
be a kink of mine.
Here are the top 5 best do-it-yourself projects for your house, according to this website. Again, they call themselves todayshomeowner.com. Number 5, updating kitchen fixtures. Oh. It's not a dangerous task, and it will only involve some awkward angles and wrench twisting on your part. It does require some skill, but they say overall, number 5, the best do-it-yourself project is updating kitchen fixtures. Number 4, adding flower beds.
Beautiful.
That's another one. My wife was like, I'd love it if you'd build me a garden, like a raised garden in the backyard. So we did that at our last house and, spent some time doing that. I'm not super handy, but I'll give it a shot.
I got some people you can call.
Well,
again, next time you need an interior room painted, call my friggin' stupid wife and her best friend.
I will.
If you want a garden set up, I got a buddy for that. Okay, adding flower beds.
So, I want to finish. She was all excited about this flower bed, and so we made it, planted everything, got it all ready, and she never did anything about it, so everything died.
That's great.
She also really wanted a pressure cooker. Got one of those. Guess how many times that's been used?
Still in the box?
Still in the box.
She just growing weeds in the flower beds.
Here's painting interior rooms as the 3rd best do-it-yourself project. They say it doesn't require a ton of skill. It's pretty safe unless you have extremely high ceilings and this and that. It takes a handful of hours, but it's not so bad. Number 2, installing/replacing wallpaper.
Ooh. That sounds
Never
awful.
done it.
I have taken wallpaper off.
That sucks.
Probably 20-some years ago. Actually, more than that now, and that was awful.
Yeah.
I've heard it's better now. The way they do it now is better. Like, we kind of want some, but it makes me a little nervous to put some. Well, one, there's no way I could put it up by myself. I know that. And then the second thing would be, I'm worried if you don't like it after a while, taking it off is going to be a miserable job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was my experience.
I don't think it's that much better because 4 years ago I had to take wallpaper off, and I got all the fancy stuff that you're supposed to use, supposed to make it super easy, and it was one of the worst things I've had to do.
Did you get a scraper? Like the specifics? Yeah, that still didn't.
Dude.
It sucks. It was brutal. It took hours.
Horrible memories of scraping wallpaper when I was a kid because my mother has been obsessed with wallpaper since the day she was born. I think when I grew up in her home, I bet you we went through 58 different wallpaper applications or removal. All miserable. But like Josh said, maybe it's much easier nowadays.
Is it a pain in the ass to get it straight too?
I don't remember while I was 11, 12, 13 years old.
I would be horrible at that.
Me too, and I also, I bet, would suck if I had to, cut holes for outlets and things like that.
Yep. Didn't even think of that.
For whatever reason, it ended up number 2 on the best do-it-yourself project. It must have made great strides in the last decade or so that they have it up. Number 1, updating toilets. They call this, fairly easy.
I've done that before.
My girlfriend did that.
It doesn't seem easy.
No, it doesn't. To me.
You mean
I put it in the shower by accident, though.
you know how to turn a wrench. You know how to turn your water on and off. I guess you can go ahead and update a toilet.
Yeah, it could get messy, though.
That wasn't difficult.
Yeah, it could get messy once you pull it out. You have to remember, put it in a bag right away. Otherwise, you're carrying poop and stuff.
There's a lot of dried urine and fecal matter.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. What What causes you to look at a toilet and say, well, that needs to go?
It was flushing problems.
Oh.
We could not get it. Like, even, it didn't matter. If you went pee, you had to flush it twice. So we didn't want people to come over and have to plunge out our toilet.
I guess I was picturing, like, for aesthetic reasons. I think
that's part of what they're saying. Aesthetic reasons.
Some people do it for aesthetic reasons.
Well, yeah, our toilets when we moved in were awful. Absolutely, were like in bad repair, chipped, half broken. I don't know what they did.
Wow.
It's loose when you sit on it.
Even so, yeah.
How do you F up a toilet?
What are you doing?
I got to be honest with you. I could ride the same toilet for 100 years if I lived that long. I
can't figure it out.
What do you do,
Our
crash
house
a car
was trouble.
into
It was
it or
trouble before we moved in.
Yes.
But we had a plumber over fixing something else, and I had asked him about the toilets. He's like, first and foremost, you could do it yourself. Secondly, what the hell happened here? I don't know. That's just how they were.
I guess
Have you been on a toilet that wasn't set right?
Well, sure, but who cares? You wobble a little bit, I'll be all right.
Like you're kind of falling off.
I can live with that. It's just, that's odd to me. You would, if I could ride the same toilet. Anyway, here are the bottom 5 do-it-yourself projects according to this website, todayshomeowner.com. They say these are the ones that pain in the ass. You gotta know what you're doing. It's gonna cost you a few more bucks. You might hurt yourself. You'll be there all weekend. The bottom 5: replacing or installing a shower/tub enclosure.
Oh, that would be brutal.
No, thank you.
Wouldn't even know where to start.
I want nothing to do with any of these, but I got buddies for this. I can hire their asses. Okay, replacing or installing a shower/tub enclosure. I could see myself dropping that on my foot. I got the tub out. Where do I put it? Set it down over there. Boom, boom. Ah. Number 4. I did this once actually, and it did suck. But I had someone there helping me. Installing or updating trim/crown molding. You get that miter saw going. You cut those strips. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sucked. I'll never do that again. They say it's a good way to lose a thumb. Pain in the ass, takes a lot of time. Need a lot of tools. Measuring sucks. Number 3, installing gutter guards. Oh yeah, I'd come right off that damn ladder, land down into the bushes somewhere. Gutter guards. Anyone ever done that gimmick?
Nope.
I hired someone to do that for me.
Yeah, I did. Part of the house.
I'm not stupid. You did it yourself for part of the house?
Oh, no. I hired somebody to do it for part of the house.
Number 2, installing carpet. No thanks.
Yeah, I would, once again, measuring, I'd cut it wrong.
Yep.
Great, now I don't have enough.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish I was better at measuring. I'm like, yeah, it's 2 inches and 2 of those little things and then one kind of bigger thing.
And then the worst, according to this website, the worst home improvement project for do-it-yourselfers. And then I get flashbacks just reading about this. Grading/water remediation. Thank you. Grading/water remediation. And that brings me back to the early days in my current house where I had water problems, and it's the closest I've ever come to dying.
We had quite a few water problems at our house. We had a pool in our dining room. The back of our house had to be reframed, new windows. It was terrible.
And they're talking about things like drainage issues, water in the basement. You've got maybe you get outside with a shovel, or you get a friend with a friggin' excavator and grade your yard and blah blah blah. And then what's that system that they put in my house?
Drain tile?
Drain tile. Oh, now eventually I hired a water company to install the drain tile. What a project that was. Chopping up the concrete and the dust, but I was so happy when it was over with, because finally I never had to worry again about water pouring into the basement and the terrible grading of my yard. I fully agree with that being the worst project for a do-it-yourselfer. I couldn't imagine in a million years getting me and my derelict friends together to try to do the job that those pros did.
I wish I was more handy, but I'm also too anal, and it drives my wife nuts. And I would be so pissed at myself if I screwed something up. And if somebody else screwed something up, it wouldn't bother me as much. For whatever reason, if there's an imperfection, that's fine. But if I did it, it would drive me. I'd be like, why didn't I just hire somebody?
Oh, yeah.
I should have hired somebody.
You're saving yourself that misery. That's a good point, Josh. I always will hire somebody. F that garbage.
My dad is just a badass with all of this stuff. I mean, in our family house, he changed one living room. He made 2 master bedrooms. He put in closets. He made his own downstairs bathroom.
Tell him to suck it.
Yeah, I wish I could do all that.
He made his own deck and everything. It's like, dude.
Rocky's brother, Jesus, was fixing the shower up on a ladder with a pipe wrench so he could reach it better. He said he dropped the wrench and broke the toilet.
That sucks.
I'll tell you what.
I'll break a toilet for you.
Yeah, when I got that company in the house to finally put in the drain tile and everything, finally put my mind at ease, all these water problems I was having. I'll never forget the boss man from this company. We're standing in my basement together and he's explaining the whole project to me. And the last thing he said to me was, and when we're done, he said, and when we're done, I absolutely guarantee you will never, ever have another drop of water in your basement ever again. That's the closest I've ever come to having sex with a man.
Really? I would have guessed it's when your erection fell on another guy's erection. I thought that would be the closest.
Okay. The water guy, second closest I've ever come to having sex with a man. Just when he said that, he could have asked me to do anything for him in that situation, and I would have done it. It was such a beautiful moment, and they were right.
We had some mold remediation that the mold guy came over, and he's like, we're right on the border of when he had to report it. I think he had to report it somewhere, but he was so cool. He's like, you know what? You could do this yourself, and he taught me how to do it. And I mean, I hired somebody to fix the drywall, but when I had to cut it all along the bottom, we've had water issues, a ton of them. And then our backyard still's got some, so that's fun, right? Didn't we tell you, Ashley, not to buy a house?
I haven't had any of these issues yet.
Well,
Yet is the key word there.
They're probably there, just waiting to get worse.
Yeah, I'm lucky that we've got all new appliances. That's a breath of fresh air.
They're just waiting there to get worse. That's brutal.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
It's plotting against you, and it's all going to happen at once.
Yeah.
It's going to happen at one time.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, Josh, sorry you had to paint over the weekend. What a nightmare. Hopefully,
not a fan.
Hopefully your finishing touches today are the end of it.
You know what? Thanks to all the contractors and workers out there that can save morons like ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
You are so appreciated, and just the skill is very impressive.
You're always going to get my phone call. I'm not too much of a hard-on. I'll call you. Like I mentioned, I got buddies who will they'll wait till the house is on fire before they call a professional because I'm a real man. They got some kind of thing happening.
I'm not a real man.
I've got an uncle like that.
It's like a condition.
He really can do anything. I mean, he could fix your car. He could build you a computer, and he can, fix your house. He's one of those guys. He's pretty much brilliant with all that kind of stuff. And he'll be pissed at me for the same reason. Why would you hire somebody for this? You should have just called me. So one time I called him. He's like, yeah, I don't have time for any of that. I called him again. Nah, I can't get down there for that.
Right. Okay.
I'm like, okay, so,
He's just being a hard-on is all he's doing.
But yeah, I called him 2 times on stuff, and I take that back. A third time, he's like, all right, I'll be there on Saturday. Never showed up.
See,
so I'm done.
Wow.
He was just puffing his chest, being like, I'm the man for all that stuff, but you put him on the spot, he's whacking off at home.
He definitely can do all that.
Now,
but yeah, I'm sure he was whacking off at home.
A couple of my buddies, they've got some kind of, man issues where it hurts their pride to think that another man could come in and do a job better than them. But for one of my buddies, I can tell you why. He's just so upset that I didn't call him. Like, as a matter of fact, when I had a company put a fence in my... I'm not 21 years old anymore. I'm not going to call my friends, hey, we're putting in a fence.
That's a lot of work.
That's ridiculous. But when I told him I'm having a fence put in, and he said, what time should I be there? I said, no, I hired a company. He rolled his eyes. He was so disgusted. I know why. For him, it's different. It gives him a reason to get the hell out of his house with his wife and his kids. That's why he loves to be the guy you call when you have a home project. It gets him out of the house. So there's different motivations for different people. He just wants a reason to be away from his wife and kids for 8 or 9 hours with a cooler of beer.
HVAC Jesus said, bad thing about all new appliances, Ashley, they all go out at the same time. We have our dishwasher. We had to get a new one. Our dishwasher was only, 4 years old, and that one leaked into the basement. We've had a lot of water problems, Ashley.
Yeah.
Nice work. Good call.
Thanks a lot, Ashley. I'm still trying to wrap my head around, unless your toilet, when you hit flush, it sprays your fecal matter back in your face, why would you ever buy a new toilet?
Dude, it was brutal. Oh.
Some people like
constant flushing.
A higher seat, right? A lot of old ones are lower.
You get one of those pads.
Like your grandmother used to have?
Yeah. Soft one. Have you ever rode one of those?
Have you ever, then you gotta, my grandma had one, yeah. But we'd have to take it off, though, if you wanted to lift the lid. So sometimes you go, I'm just gonna pee, and boy, that's not easy when you have all that extra stuff.
Oh, that's annoying.
My folks had like a 3-foot ass pad on their toilet because my grandmother was living there for a while before she checked out, and she couldn't, land herself down on the toilet like she used to. So they had a 3-foot ass pad. My dad was in love with it. He called me into the John while he was sitting on it one day. And he said, look, my toes are dangling. He had such a look of joy on his face. And he's right, his toes weren't touching the ground.
That's adorable.
He was in heaven.
Just kicking them back and forth.
Yeah.
Were you a little taken back while your dad called you into the bathroom while he was on the throne?
No.
A buddy of mine's dad used to leave the door open and he'd floss on the toilet. And he'd be like, hey, come over here, boys. And he'd want to talk. He always wanted to talk.
No.
You got to get one of those 3-4-foot ass pads on your toilet. It's like being on a ride.
Wonder why you draw the line at toilet. Like, I think you'd replace other things for aesthetic purposes and stuff like that. But let's say you redid a bathroom, you'd keep your old toilet.
I mean, because what the hell does that thing need to be good looking for? You know what I mean?
Well, it's curious to me that you'd change maybe, what about like a faucet? Would you change the faucet for looks?
If it looked stupid?
Yeah.
Probably not. I don't really. You're just washing your hands and your penis in the sink, and you sit on the.
I don't know. You've updated stuff. What about paint? You just mentioned there's painting going on. You've had your wife's painted and stuff.
Yeah. What about
it's still a wall. I mean, what's the extent?
Well, I couldn't have cared less if they would have painted. They said we're going to paint, and I said, go ahead. I don't give a rat's ass. You paint a mural of Adam Sandler for all I care. I don't care.
I just like where some people draw the line. You learn something. You learn something.
That's valuable stuff. Valuable. All right, here we go. Monday morning. You're a hell of a crowd. It's chili dog day. No, wait a minute. It's not. It's not chili dog day. We're just going to suck the chili dog. Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder will be checking in a little bit later, and the Stupid News and Cubby and everybody will all be here. We'll be right back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Our customers are our top priority, whether that's providing same-day service or solving a cooling issue for that addition on your home. Ashley, tell our listeners about this month's AC specials.
Get started on your spring cleaning checklist now. With the weather warming up, it's the perfect time to get your AC tuned up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get $40 off a furnace or AC tune-up, or double your savings and get $80 off when you get them done at the same time. Visit standardheating.com to save now.
Welcome to Talkville, the ultimate Smallville rewatch podcast. Let's get into season 4, episode 3, Facade. People get picked on. I got picked on. But Scabby, the whole school just hurt me. I felt like it wasn't real.
If I may, I want to defend the storytellers. The people who created the show wanted you to feel like these people were the worst people ever.
They pretty much said the whole school of Smallville High are bad people.
Jump in now or catch up on any of the past seasons of Talkville on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh, man, here we go. Our first crack at the stupid news for this week. I'll be damned. Maybe you knew this already. Maybe you didn't. Regardless, I'm going to go ahead anyway. According to what I'm reading here, India is the type of place where there is a hell of a lot of pressure on the high school kids to excel academically, just like it is in Anoka. There's a long history of academic excellence in places like India and Anoka and Malacca. The further you go up 169, really, Josh, the higher the pressure is to excel academically. Elk River, Zimmerman, Princeton, Malacca, Onamia, it gets intense. But for real, in India, the pressure gets to some of the young kids to where some of them turn to cheating on tests and this and that to try and make sure that they live up to their own or their parents' or the community's expectations or whatever the case might be. Sometimes it's really elaborate stuff. The cheating, like the kids are caught with little earbuds in their heads with someone on the other end feeding them the answers, or a kid steals the correct answers to a test and then tattoos the answers to the inside of their eyelids. It's real sick, demented stuff. Here's the latest from India. Some 24-year-old dude was arrested for impersonating a police officer to help his younger sister cheat on one of the big damn important tests that the kids take over there. A couple weeks ago, the dude strolled into Shababu Urdu High School wearing a cop's uniform. He planned to infiltrate the Shababu Urdu Exam Center by claiming that he was there to supervise the Shababu Urdu students who were taking the Shababu Urdu test. And then he'd passed the correct answers, is how you say it. He'd passed the correct answers on to his sister who was sitting there taking the test. Showed up dressed as a cop. He says, yes, I'm a supervisor.
And what high school did you say this was?
Shababu Urdu.
Yeah, okay.
I said it 5 or 6 times. I don't know how you...
You're kind of acting like you've never heard of that before.
Kandare is the older brother's name. And by God, his plan was going well. Until real cops walked into the school to do the job that Kandare claimed he was holding down as supervisor of the exam. Real cops showed up. And apparently what blew Kandare's cover, and this must have been just straight from nervousness, he gave the cops some kind of weird salute when they walked in. And the real cops were all like, what the hell was that? He gave them some kind of a hello, hi-yo kind of a thing. And they thought, well, so the real cops looked Kandare up and down and realized he was a fake. They checked his pockets. They found a bunch of cheat sheets meant for his sister, who, like I said, was taking the big test. Kandare to be stupid. He was taken into custody and charged with impersonating a government servant. And Cubby, he might have to do time for this stupid little caper.
Oh.
Can't imagine risking jail for one of my siblings just to do well in a test.
Yeah, absolutely not.
They need to hear the term C's get degrees over there.
Yeah.
Don't take it so seriously.
Were any of you guys big test cheaters?
Never once.
Yeah, a time or two, sure.
Well, what did you do?
We'd store notes in our calculator. One time, yeah, just things like that. One time in college, I had a buddy straight up take a test for me. He was sitting next to me. He was a math whiz, and there's intro-level math. I wasn't studying. I wasn't very good at it, and he finished his test really quickly, and I just slid him mine, and he did mine too.
That's awesome.
We were never smart enough or strategic enough, nor did we know anybody who had the answers. So we really didn't, me and my group of friends, we weren't big test cheaters just because I think we all knew we were going to be failures regardless.
I was always afraid to get caught. So.
Yeah, we'd get in some pretty big trouble. And our class sizes were so small, you know, you could, it'd be tough to get away with.
Yeah, I can imagine your school, none just really getting after somebody if they got caught cheating.
Yeah, the nuns wouldn't be too happy with that. There was a girl whose mom was a teacher, and, you know, she was hit up a lot. Like, hey, can you sneak the answers?
Really?
Can you help us out?
What the hell is this? Is this for real? More anxiety than hair, Jesus? Is this something out of a movie, or did this really happen? He said he wore a cowboy hat during his road test for his driver's license. This has got to be a joke. This is a movie I missed. There was a radio in there, and my friend was on the other end giving me all the answers for driving. Eventually, I ended up panicking and driving off the road and crashing? Come on. Get back to me on this.
What? That's a crazy story.
What Monty Python episode, or what are you referencing? There's no way that's a true story. It's hilarious. Get back to us. More anxiety than hair, Jesus.
Medical device Jesus is very tall, and he is Indian. He said those standards of education were expected of he and his brother by his parents. All A's or nothing. It was miserable, he said.
Oh, that sucks.
Damn.
I don't think anyone in my lineage has ever received an A in anything. Maybe my dad. I take that. My dad was a pretty bright guy.
Yeah. I'm glad my parents had zero expectations of me.
They didn't expect much out of you?
Nah.
Even though they were both teachers?
My dad was a teacher. My mom wasn't.
Oof, I got, people are saying that was from SpongeBob, the reference from.
For Christ's
More anxiety
sake.
than hair, Jesus. Who's gorgeous in his own right.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of text messages saying Sponge Bob.
I got a whooping once from my dad for getting a D in algebra and having a bit of an attitude about it.
Oh.
Well, an attitude as far as I said, Dad, you know, I'm not going to need algebra. I'm going to grow up and play guitar in a band.
Oh.
You know, I don't need algebra. And then I got a whooping.
It's what every dad wants to hear.
That's crazy because you got to. My folks, I don't remember them ever asking about academics ever. But did I tell you this already, Josh, about my old man's report cards?
I know you've told a story about his report cards before. I forget.
I don't remember if I mentioned this on the air or not. You know, my dad checked out a few months ago, and of course, you know, you go through his belongings, and we were going through pictures and whatnot for his celebration of life, which you all showed up for, and I appreciate it very much. But one of the things, I don't know why the hell he kept these, but he kept all of his report cards. And they're terrible. They were terrible.
Well, how bad?
Oh,
I mean, did he pass?
Yeah.
I mean, like, were they weren't all Fs, right? He got some Ds?
No, I mean, I guess I can't quite remember the specifics. It was really, really bad. I don't remember if I saw any Fs, but there were some incompletes and a lot of Ds and D minuses and whatnot. And I thought, well, no wonder he never said anything to me about academics, because he didn't think much of it. Didn't think of it. But you have to remember, this was in the late 50s. He was in a very small town. He was a hired hand on a farm starting when he was 12 years old. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I wonder if in that tiny farming community in the 50s, I wonder if a lot of the kids were given a break on academics because the teachers knew, look, you know, most of these kids aren't going to go on to be college professors. They're going to be blue-collar kids. You know, they're going to stay working on the farm for their entire life.
Yep.
So there wasn't really that one of the things I thought was, how the hell did they let him on the football team and the basketball team? But maybe that wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? How nowadays, well, you better keep your grades up if you're going to be on the basketball. Maybe in the 50s and in that town, that wasn't a thing. That was kind of the conclusion I came to. In a little town like that, where 9 out of the 10 kids were probably just going to keep squeezing cow teats for the rest of their life. You know, what are you going to bust their balls about science? Who cares, right?
I haven't brought this up yet, but I felt like kind of a douchebag at your dad's celebration of life. You know, I dressed up, and I don't do that very often. And Dana walks in with a Stone Cold 316 shirt and a jean jacket over it. I'm like, okay, I guess I felt like people were going to look at me like, oh, who's this guy deciding to dress up for something? I had no idea.
You did look very sharp, Josh.
I was trying to respect Nick's father.
And that's great. It was funny because a couple of my buddies, one of them, House, that you know very well.
I love House.
Did he give you grief for your suit?
I didn't even see him there. I didn't know he was there. Was he going to give me some crap?
Well, yeah, he was face down in a tall Budweiser, but so maybe that's why you didn't see him. But he did pull me aside, and another one of my friends, Ricky, and they both said, 2 questions. Did Josh know where he was going today?
I did know.
Which was an American Legion. And did he know whose life he was celebrating? Because my old man, you know, he wouldn't have cared if somebody walked in shirtless. You know what I mean?
I had that thought, but I figured, you know what? If everyone's dressed up and I'm not, I'm going to feel like a bigger dick because I want to honor the guy.
That's exactly how I responded for you. I said, well, the guy was being respectful, and he probably thought if he showed up very lackadaisical and we were all, so.
I did get some crap from multiple people. Thank God House didn't say anything to me. That would have broke my heart.
You look beautiful. You look beautiful.
House bought me a Shirley Temple once from across the bar. It was like out of a movie.
Romantic.
It's like right out of a movie.
That's very nice.
Yeah, he's a big, tough guy. Sabotaging somebody's food is a stupid thing to do. I don't know why you potheads like that bit so much.
We do?
Yeah. What are you talking about, we do?
I don't think I've ever messed with someone's food. I don't think I've really even seen it.
That's not true.
Yeah,
Same here.
You brought me a piece of French silk pie and said I put exactly 3 pubes in there. Exactly 3.
I wasn't directing my comments directly to you or Ashley, but you're kidding yourself, Wapple, if you don't know that we tell stories on this show all the time of some moron pothead putting drugs in the brownies and the cookies, and everyone gets sick.
Don't
be so sensitive.
I thought of something gross, like what Josh was thinking. I didn't even think about like the putting weed in food. Okay.
That didn't even come to mind.
No,
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, if you said, I'm a drinker, if you said, what's with you drinkers and all the DWIs, and I got all sensitive and said, well, I've never gotten a DWI. That's where drinkers get DWIs, potheads put pot in the food.
Yeah, they do.
They do. A dude in Miami, no, that's not correct. The dude in Maine is in trouble with local law enforcement for lacing ice cream with THC at the ice cream shop.
Ain't cool.
I'd be pretty furious.
I would too.
I've never taken the drug on my own. I don't want somebody else to make that decision for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And the last time we talked about this, I think we all agreed that this is a good reason. This is solid grounds to punch somebody in the mouth.
I've told you guys this before, but I had some food delivered and I was fairly certain there might have been some ejaculate in there, but I ate it.
Yeah,
because I thought, what's the likelihood of that?
Exactly.
And you're hungry too.
I mean, it sure seems like it. But it's probably not that.
How's the food taste? Very ejaculatey.
Oh my God. What's wrong with you? Why would you bring something like that?
So this little 7th grade trick made a bunch of people sick as balls. There's a 43-year-old guy doing this. His name is Mark. It's usually a problem right away, isn't it?
Yep.
According to court documents, this happened a year ago and it's just now being settled in court. He laced a bunch of ice cream at the neighborhood ice cream shop. He dumped some of that tetrahydrocannabinoid. Cannabinol. What's cannabinoid as compared to cannabinol?
I think they're pretty much the same thing.
Fair enough.
It's like the active ingredient that gets you high.
He put it in the iced cream at a cafe. the story doesn't mention if this guy worked at the joint. He must have had access. He must have worked there because he had access to the freezer. So he laces the ice cream with his stupid tetrahydrocannabinol. He puts it in the freezer. And then, of course, naturally, folks are taking buckets of it home and they get sick as hell. Yeah, one kid was sick. Like a little tiny kid got sick. I mean, this guy could go to prison for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, 10 years seems maybe a bit excessive, but I definitely would be pretty furious if something like that happened.
Stop that.
Somebody said cannabinoid. This is I'm way over here in left field, but do you guys, the Noid commercials back in the day, the pizza Noid, I love the Noid. I wish the Noid
You got to avoid the Noid.
Avoid the Noid.
Which joint did he work for?
Was it Domino's?
Domino's. They even made a Noid video game on the original Nintendo.
Did they really?
Uh-huh.
That's hilarious.
Awesome.
I remember the Noid, sure.
I wish the Noid, they bring them back. They bring everything else back. Bring the Noid back.
Here's another one of these damn deals. Josh, I think the next time the two of us go over to the thrift store to buy pants, we should wear body armor. Up there in stupid British Columbia, a thrift store found a grenade in a donation box. They had to go ahead and evacuate every swinging D from the thrift store, and also multiple other businesses in the same strip mall where the thrift shop was located. The cops had to chase everybody out of there too.
It's weird. You hear this happening maybe once a year. Somebody goes through Grandpa's closet and pulls one of these out, not knowing exactly what it was or thinking it's just, well, this can't be real. It's got to be a decoration.
The grenade was determined to be something called a decommissioned Mills hand grenade from WW2. Cops called the dullard that dropped off the donation box with the grenade in it, and that person said that they had been using it as a paperweight. And it was donated accidentally. I bet the cops keep an eye on that guy for a little while.
That's probably a good call. Yeah.
If you can buy, I'd love to have something like that. I don't know if you can legally buy those. I'm sure somebody in the brother or sisterhood would know. If you don't mind sharing, if you could buy something like that.
You want a grenade sitting on a table at the house?
Yeah, decommissioned, like officially decommissioned, where somebody knows what they're doing, says this thing's fine, it's inert.
That'd be pretty cool.
JP, the radio slave, he used to own a pawn shop, and they had like a World War I artillery shell someone dropped off at their place, and they had to call the bomb squad and everything, get them involved.
I hope never have to call the bomb squad in my life.
Same here.
You know what? I'm with you. I mean, I'd love to meet some of those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to call them for any real reason.
I want to call the Spirit Squad. That's who I'm calling. If anything ever goes wrong, I call the Spirit Squad. I was confused at first when I started reading this here story because it mentions a Stanley Cup. But apparently they're not talking about the oldest trophy in North American professional sports. They're talking about a brand name tumbler type of a deal that everybody's crazy about these days. Weren't we just talking about these types of things a few days ago?
We were.
Yep.
Everybody needs these brand name tumblers and water bottles. It's a hip, trendy, trying to be cool type of a thing.
People were fighting at Target over them.
Yep.
Here's the deal. A lady in Florida claims that a Stanley Cup tumbler type of a thing saved her life during a shootout. Oh, great, another shootout. Somebody shot up her house. Doesn't say why. The gal says that her water bottle got in the way of a bullet that might have killed her dead. She posted a video on, again, with the godless social media. She posted a video showing what appears to be damage done to the cup by a bullet. She said this here. She said, all of a sudden we heard about 7 or 8 gunshots and then one really loud bang. The bullet entered my house, then ricocheted off the Stanley, which was right in front of me, and sent the bullet flying through my perfume bottle and then into my kitchen.
Man, that's lucky.
So I guess that was the deal, by God. Her hip water bottle took a bullet for her.
This was all set up by Stanley.
A guerrilla marketing campaign?
That's some aggressive marketing. It says here now, Stanley isn't a new company, but recently their tumblers have taken the internet by storm. The Stanley The Stanley Limited Edition's Valentine's Day tumbler flew off the shelves at Target stores. Some of the tumblers are being resold for more than $100. This is just one of the many reasons why the rest of the world laughs at us, because we're jackasses.
Yup.
We believe everything we read on the internet. We shoot at each other to solve our problems. And when we're not doing that, we're paying $100 for a water bottle.
Is there anything about these cups that make them superior to other cups, or is it strictly just a status symbol?
I've heard they're pretty good.
They are?
Yeah,
I mean, I know a guy that would hate everything about this Stanley, and he does hate everything about the Stanley Cup craze, but he said they are pretty
They're
awesome.
legit.
They became really popular because there was a video going around of a girl who had a Stanley Cup in her car, and her car like caught on fire. It ended up like burning to a crisp. Like the video, it shows like everything in the car is burnt. The only thing that's not burnt and that still has ice in it was her Stanley Cup.
That never happened.
But yeah, that's kind of when it really kicked off.
It's kind of like those stories where somebody's got a cell phone in their pocket and it stops a bullet, or there was a priest who had a Bible in his pocket and that stopped a bullet. That's why I always carry the good book with me, just in case.
Smart.
The Nintendo store in New York City has a Game Boy that's still working that survived a bombing during one of the wars. Pretty nuts.
Like Vietnam or something?
No.
I'm going to say no to that.
All right, now here we are in Palm Springs, California. Our next trip here in today's Stupid News Report takes us to Palm Springs, California. The cops are getting a lot of complaints about a walking trail over there that's turned into a popular spot for folks to bump. Anal and everything.
Well,
folks are tearing each other limb from limb on this walking trail. The cops said, "We believe that people are using dating/hookup apps to arrange meetups. No one is quite sure why this spot has become a go-to spot for random ass crushing as opposed to any other spot in town." Palm Springs is not the only city with this problem. Last fall, cops were called and they had to step in when a park outside Atlanta, Georgia became a favorite destination for people looking to fold each other in half. And in broad daylight, too. 9:10 in the damn morning. Cops come around the corner, and some guy's got a gal in the wheelbarrow position just...
You don't want to deal with that.
Anybody here try the wheelbarrow position?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, just one for me. That's all I needed.
It's nine.
But I felt bad because she had to hold my ankle so long that she cramped up. Wicked cramp, she told me.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, so that was the problem in Georgia.
I do wonder sometimes how people pick those spots. I mean, especially if it's not extra secluded or just a beautiful area. If it's just kind of a little more normal. Convenience? I don't know.
I have no idea. Morning sex. Dumbest damn thing ever created. Who's with me?
No.
I'm fine with it.
Dumbest damn thing ever.
I love morning sex.
If you're a morning sex person, very likely you're a woman and you're doing it all wrong.
Some people I've heard say they like to, quote, start their day with a bang. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it whenever, but I'm with you. Like, if I could pick a time of day, it wouldn't be in the morning.
It's not right when I wake up. What the hell's the matter with you? All right. I think we're about done here. We got to close out. This is a keeper here. Bad news if you're a nut job who wants to climb Mount, how do you call it? Everest. Bad news if you're nuts and you want to climb Mount Everest. You got to scoop up your own turds from now on.
Too many turds there.
Yeah, you hear that, right?
Mhm.
There's so much poop around there.
That's messed up.
Isn't there a lot of garbage, too? It's
Yeah,
almost
there
like
is.
a garbage.
I mean, how long does it take to do all that, to like climb up Mount Everest?
I can do it in 20 minutes.
Yeah. I have
Because
no
that could
idea.
be a lot
It's a
of
long time.
About 3
stuff
dumps
you're
worth.
carrying around, yeah.
They say they're making new rules up there. People climbing Mount Everest will now have to clear up their own poo and bring it back to base camp to be disposed of. All right, I'm not sure what I'm saying here, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. I believe that this here is a quote from someone who knows what's going on up there on Mount Everest. Mingma Sherpa, chairman of Pasang Lamu Rural Municipality. He told the local news, "Our mountains have begun to stink. The word is, due to extreme temperatures, big fat granola and energy bar laden human turds left on Mount Everest are not degrading."
Yeah, it'd just be kind of like dog poop at that point. It just kind of freezes and then just sits there.
Little poopsicle.
Yeah.
Mr. Mingma, the guy I didn't know what I was talking about there for a minute, but now I'm starting to figure it out. Mr. Mingma, the dude, he said, "We're getting complaints that human turd logs are visible on rocks and some climbers are puking their guts out. This is not acceptable," he said.
You're just reaching up to get to the next level.
Oh, you dip your head. Climbers will now be ordered to buy poo bags at base camp, which will be checked upon their return. Oh, who's the poor bastard that has to check everybody's fecal bags?
So it says here, on average, it takes about 7 to 9 weeks to make the climb. That's a lot of turds you're hauling back down to base camp.
That's
not for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're good, Josh.
No, I swear I didn't have to go.
Yeah, they question you.
Yeah, I'm the guy you want on that trip.
It's been 7 weeks and you've pooped twice.
Yeah, maybe 7 times.
Here's some more info for you.
Do you think you just have a poop guy at that point?
Poop guy?
Yeah. Instead of like a guide, it's just a guy. He carries all the
You bring a poop Sherpa with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just got to carry everyone's poop.
During climbing season is how you say it. During climbing season, mountaineers, climbers, spend most of their time at base camp. Oh, they got to acclimate themselves to the altitude. They have to stop now and again and just kind of set. And they have separate tents there, used as toilets. And there's barrels underneath collecting all your 1s and 2s. But once they get a little further up the mountain, things get more difficult. Most climbers and support staff dig a hole when they have to cut loose and go potty. But the higher you go up the mountain, some locations have no snow, so you have to let her buck just out in the open on a rock. So all that literal hippie crap just gets left behind, and it begins to look like the backyard of a family with multiple dogs. Dudes, someone did the arithmetic on this, and they say that there are around 3 tons of human turds.
Oh, wow.
Between a joint called Camp 1 at the bottom of Mount Everest and another joint called Camp 4, which is up towards the summit.
Right.
One dude said, "There is hardly any ice and snow. You will see human stools all around you."
Oh, my, no.
Wapple, write down Camp 1 for one of our nightclub title ideas, or the name of the nightclub. That'd be awesome. There's also like 200 dead bodies on that thing.
Yeah,
I think I'd
Yeah.
rather find the poop than the bodies.
For sure, definitely.
Now, the only good news, they say, is that if climbers run out of food on their way to the summit, they can eat the frozen poop they find on the mountain because the extreme cold preserves the natural nutrients in human feces.
Oh, nice. So you could be eating like 50-year-old poop.
So along with asking folks to bring their own poop bags, they're also encouraging climbers to bring less food on their journey and maybe trying to live off the frozen feces that's been left behind before them.
No.
If you put enough salt on it, I'll eat it.
Yeah, a little hot sauce.
Hey, look, it's got a peanut in there.
This is...
That last part I made up.
I was hoping.
Yeah, we were following along. 2 pumps
filtration
and a squeeze. Jesus said, 1 breakfast. That's all I ask. Just 1 breakfast sometime.
Not on this show.
What the hell is the matter with... Number one, why the hell would you want to do that in the first place? Who the hell can take 7 to 9 weeks off to close, how do you say it, climb a mountain?
I do wonder that sometimes.
You're nuts. I mean, that's it. You're just nuts. And then it's just people, the deuces everywhere.
I would hate to have that job where you have to clean the latrines out at Camp 1.
Camp 1.
That'd be horrible.
Every night is ladies' night at Camp 1.
1. 1. 1. 1,
4.
1.
Camp
1,
4.
1.
Oh, yeah, you could have a level system. You know, you start out at Camp 1, and then you really want to get up to Camp 4. That's like the VIP.
Your cover charge goes up in each place.
Mm-hmm. Got a little velvet rope in front of it blocking off the commoners. You're not Club 4 material.
I want to apologize to folks streaming today. I guess we're having a lot of issues. And you're going to hear this exact apology 3-4 times based on what people are saying. It just keeps repeating.
I wish they'd shut that stupid thing down anyway, that streaming.
The stream? How come?
Just shut it off. I'm tired of it. Tired of all this modern technology.
I don't know the last time. Well, I guess in my car. What am I saying? I was going to say I don't have an actual radio at my house. I stream whatever station I want to listen to.
What the hell's?
Which is always 93X.
Yep.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Shaq, you know, he's a man, I'm a man, okay? But he's 7'3". I looked down at another man's penis, and I actually said to Shaq, what is that? I have never seen anything like it. It has to be a tax deduction. You asked me this question, I'm answering you. So
I think I asked you, how are you? And then we got here. I don't think the question was, let's talk about Shaq's penis. It's not here.
I looked at my own penis because I just saw something that was hanging like a salami, and my penis looked like a semicolon. I almost had a nervous breakdown.
That sounded like Richard Lewis discussing Shaquille O'Neal's penis size.
Yeah, he happened to see it. They were filming at a Lakers game, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he met Shaq and happened to see Shaq's penis and hated his own penis afterwards. Although I bet he hated it beforehand, too.
Probably.
That video was going around over the weekend, and the time. Well, I was going to say untimely. I guess he was 76, but the passing of Richard Lewis.
That must have been terrible.
Seeing that thing?
When he saw Shaq's penis.
Yeah.
Humbling.
Humble a man for sure.
Could you go hip to hip with him in the urinal, Josh?
Oh, God, no. No. Although I would like to see Shaq at a normal-sized urinal. I bet that's hilarious. I bet it's like, when a taller adult has to lean over at like a kid's school. You're at your son's basketball game or something, and just too small for you.
Oh, man. What the hell? What a hell of a deal we got going on here. Let me just rip through some jock sniffing, and we'll move on with our lives. The Timberwolves lost by a point at home yesterday to the Los Angeles Clippers. And part of the article I read this morning, I think it was from the Star Trib, talked about how the Wolves need to be better in the clutch. And yesterday was another good example of that. When it gets down to those clutch moments, they still just seem a little shaky. It's not every time, but it's damn near every time. They're just a little shaky come what was the term? Winning time, I saw. Winning time. And they lost by a point. A1 from day one misses a 3. Carl misses a little floater. Just hasn't been working out. And they're going to need that when the playoffs come around. So they've lost a couple in a row now at home. Tonight, they got the Portland Trailblazers at Target Center. It took a hat trick from the Russian kid to do it, but the Pigs beat San Jose yesterday by a final of 4-3. We'll talk about that and many other things when Brad Ryder and Randy Shaver swing by here in about a half hour. Josh's News is coming up next.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Our customers are our top priority, whether that's providing same-day service or solving a cooling issue for that addition on your home. Ashley, tell our listeners about this month's AC specials.
Get started on your spring cleaning checklist now. With the weather warming up, it's the perfect time to get your AC tuned up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get $40 off a furnace or AC tune-up, or double your savings and get $80 off when you get them done at the same time. Visit standardheating.com to save now.
What companies deserve your hard-earned dollar? Which would you want to work for? How can you know if they share your values? Just ask us. Just Capital is a nonprofit that tracks who really means business in supporting workers, customers, communities, the environment, and shareholders. We measure progress, track success, and help them be better. When you see the Just Capital seal, you know what's real, because just business is better business. Visit justcapital.com to learn who makes your dollar count.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
I feel like maybe they could have done a little bit more accountability and ownership in that statement for, hey, maybe we didn't fully think this thing through here.
An Oklahoma school district released a statement Friday afternoon after a video showed students licking toes during an event called Wonderful Week of Fundraising.
T-O-E-S? Toes?
That's correct.
Ew.
The week was spent raising money for Not Your Average Joe Coffee, which employs people with intellectual, developmental, and physical disabilities. The district said Thursday Deer Creek High School hosted an assembly called Clash of the Classes for students to pay to attend. Students in 9th through 12th grades volunteered to participate in different class competitions, including being the fastest to lick peanut butter off of a classmate's toes.
What? They're licking peanut butter off of toes. What? I am all for fundraising and all for really fun and silly things, but that right there just seems a little excessive.
The clip showed several participants sitting on an elevated position with their bare feet extended in front of other participants laying on the ground. Each one on the floor began licking the pair of bare feet in front of them. The toe-licking challenge at Deer Creek has ignited a debate over the appropriateness of such activities in educational settings, especially when they involve minors. The good news, however, is over $152,000 was raised in total.
Well, that's great.
That's awful nice. I'll tell you what, I don't like feet at all. Feet disgust me. But back in high school, there were some toes that I would have licked.
No.
That surprises me.
Never.
In high school, there were some toes you could have fed me. You skipped the peanut butter.
There was just like a list, and you would sign up for these activities, and one of them just said toe licking. And you're like, yeah, I'll lick some toes.
Yeah, I'll do
what
that.
Happened?
That's exactly what happened. I couldn't watch the video. I felt a little creepy watching minors lick each other's toes.
Understandable.
But yeah, that's I saw the still photo, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I guess it'd be worse if you didn't know you'd lick toes. You just kind of signed up, and then they're like, all right, you're the toe licker.
Yeah, this is what we're doing.
A junior high teacher in Osaka, Japan, physically assaulted a student because he was upset the teen compared him to an anime character.
Oh, no.
The 38-year-old teacher squeezed the student's head with both arms, and in a separate incident months later, shoved the same student to the ground, trapped him in a headlock, and punched him at least twice on the left side of his face.
Okay, all right.
School officials said the instructor grew upset with the student because he and his schoolmates repeatedly made fun of the teacher's physique.
Well, is it laughable?
They didn't say which anime character.
Darn it.
So I couldn't Google it. Which is obviously unflattering. You may be wondering, after 2 beatings, how long he'll be in jail or how quickly he was fired from the district. But the answer to both of those questions is he wasn't. The teacher was given a 10% salary reduction for misconduct, but he can still teach, barely making a dent on his ability to go to any of the 11 routinely sold-out Mr. Big Stadium shows in the land of the rising sun.
Christ.
School officials said the teacher apologized to the student and his family, saying, I couldn't control my anger. I guess not.
Did you have any teachers back in the day who looked like somebody and you gave them a fitting nickname because of their appearance?
No.
No.
We had a teacher that looked frighteningly like Leatherface.
Oh, no.
That would be fun.
But we never had the balls to give him a Leatherface-related nickname. He had a nickname, but we didn't want to dump the Texas Chainsaw name on him because we thought it would be too easy, or pardon me, too obvious, and he'd kill us. But that guy, he looked like Leatherface. Very intimidating.
Has anybody ever told you look like Leatherface? That's not one you want to get.
No.
He probably
I'll dissect you with a chainsaw for saying something like that.
My guess is he wouldn't have understood the reference.
Sure.
But we weren't going to take any chances. He's a shop teacher. He'll choke you out.
Last week was a busy one for dramatic crashes, leaving behind several injured people and a lot of dramatic video. We begin in Michigan, where afternoon shopping turned to chaos at a Canton Township Walmart early Friday afternoon when a driver of an SUV crashed through the store's walls after suffering a medical incident, injuring at least 5 people.
She flew down this main aisle and flew inside of the building. I heard crunch, crunch, and that's it. And I ran. When I ran, the car come right through, and all the shelves went down. All the cops were turning around taking all the shelves off because there was somebody underneath.
The driver, who was taken to the hospital along with the injured shoppers, crashed through the service doors and ended up roughly 40 55 feet inside the doors.
There they went, huh?
Next, in Kentucky, an absolute nightmare situation unfolded for a semi-truck driver who found herself dangling over the freezing Ohio River, quite literally teetering at the edge of disaster. A 3-vehicle collision on the Clark Memorial Bridge connecting Kentucky to southern Indiana was reported around noon, leaving the cab of the semi hanging over the side. It took about 40 minutes to set up a rope system and get someone ready to rappel down and bring the driver to safety.
Once I reached her, she was super calm, collected, and helped me do what I needed to do to get her to safety. She was just praying. She was praying a lot, and I prayed with her.
2 fire trucks collided while responding to a burning house in northern Pennsylvania Saturday, injuring 6 firefighters. Preliminary investigation indicated a rescue truck entered an intersection on a red light and began to turn left. The latter truck had a green light activated by the traffic light preemption system on the ladder truck. The ladder truck swerved but hit the rescue vehicle and then hit an embankment, leaving the driver of the ladder truck trapped for a short time. Authorities said both vehicles had lights and sirens on. On the other end of the country, video shared by the Oregon State Police showed a car launching off the side of a highway before landing 200 feet down an embankment. Officials say the driver had taken their eyes off the road when they drove straight over a curve and then into the highway last Monday morning. Police said the driver is fortunate to have survived that crash.
200 feet?
200 feet.
Dang. All the way down, skis.
Police in Eureka, California responded to a car crash just before 11 a.m. Saturday where a vehicle somehow plowed through a nail salon, causing significant damage to the building. A man in Texas is facing charges after he drove into a convenience store Tuesday at 1:20 a.m. after becoming upset their beer fridges were locked. He's also accused of assaulting the clerk.
An individual had gone into the store and went to the refrigerators where the alcohol was at. He became upset when he found out that the refrigerator was locked, assaulted the employee, exited the store, got onto his pickup truck, and crashed into the convenience store.
A couple incidents in New York are making national news. First, a fire truck plowed through the facade of a furniture store on New York's Long Island Friday, injuring 4 people and destroying much of the building's exterior. Video shared on social media showed the truck swerving to avoid another vehicle, then careening into the corner of the furniture repair shop just before 11:30 a.m. The other New York crash, just 3 days earlier, happened at a Courtyard Marriott in Niagara Falls. The building was significantly damaged when a woman drove a car through the hotel and into the indoor swimming pool.
Niagara Falls. I hope your girlfriend's all right.
Well, she's on the Canadian side.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
forgot. She's on that.
She's on. She was safe. And from the road to the skies to the ground, a student pilot in Seattle crash-landed a plane last month with neither he nor anyone on the ground being injured because he just practiced the exact scenario 2 days earlier.
This is the first time we've had an accident. No matter what your experience is, you just think someone's hurt real bad. And then he starts suffering some engine power loss, sputtering, but the airplane absorbed all the impacts of the trees he was flying into. Residential areas on both sides of the Japanese Gulch lining up with the runway, so I wanted to make sure he was clear of that. I bemoan the loss of an airplane. I'm actually very proud of him.
His engine died, but he managed to avoid 2 residential areas and land safely in some woods.
Well, F me running.
New Zealand gas stations reported nationwide outages at self-service pumps on February 29th, apparently because their software was unable to deal with leap day. In the capital, Wellington, some stations closed completely, leaving customers confronted with signs reading nationwide payment outage, site unavailable.
Oh, I bet there were some frustrated people there, Cubby.
Yeah, I think there were.
Imagine the pant wedding that would go on around here.
Oh, no.
They said they were pretty embarrassed of that little glitch. A Dallas area Brink security guard was robbed Friday at gunpoint and even forced to take off his pants during the heist. The suspect got out of a vehicle at 9:45 a.m. and held up a man at the ATM. Video shows the man lying on the ground with his pants being taken off by a suspect so he couldn't escape or retaliate.
It is brazen. Yes, it is shocking. This is not something that happens in Irving. Actually, the Bricks employee himself told the officers that he was caught off guard, and he was caught so off guard because this is usually a very quiet route for him.
The suspect fled with an undisclosed amount of cash and the victim's dignity.
When I was leaving the bank, I saw these two guys in the ground. I didn't think much of it, but when I saw the gun and I was in the car already, that's when I thought, oh man, this is something.
To add even more insult to injury, a witness filmed the pants removal, which wasn't a smooth process. The thief started tugging the driver's pants, trying to remove them, but had so much trouble, the driver had to help him take his own pants off.
Right.
This was messed up.
Got caught up on his boots or something. So what was the idea was if I take the pants off of you, you're not going to have the balls to run away?
He's not going to go after him or take off. Investigators are asking for help in identifying that suspect.
So it kind of looked like a parent undressing a child after a while.
Yeah, it looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's up on 93x.com.
This is a heck of a story. After just wrapping up the real estate process and being handed the keys, an Indiana man was super excited that he and his wife were moving into a brand new home. But what the man reportedly didn't know was that his wife faked all the financial documents and then broke into the home, telling her husband they were the new homeowners. Police were called at 6:38 p.m., February 16th, after the man selling the property spotted a U-Haul truck outside, telling police no one was supposed to be there. But when officers arrived at the scene, they found a couple unloading boxes and brandishing keys to the front door. 32-year-old Courtney Davis told officers she and her husband had purchased the home and had been given the keys by their realtor. Realtor. She even showed screenshots of paperwork that they purchased the property. But the story didn't match what the real homeowner told police. A deeper dive uncovered that not only had the couple not submitted their payment, but the forms handed over to the realtor had been fraudulent. And the seller's realtor noticed that something was off due to multiple grammatical errors on the paperwork. Then investigators reached out to Davis's realtor, who Davis had handed them the keys from the house's lockbox, at least that's what she said, only to learn that too was a lie. When the couple was confronted about their crimes, Davis reportedly confessed to breaking into the home prior to the couple moving in, quote unquote. She said she climbed through the windows, unlocked all the doors, and smashed open the lockbox before her husband arrived to move their stuff, apparently unaware and left in the dark about the fraud. And there's more. It was then discovered a tow truck driven by Davis's husband was reported stolen. She later told police the truck had reportedly been purchased with a bad check. Again, Davis's husband was unaware about the stolen nature of the truck, allegedly having no idea the bad check used to purchase the vehicle.
So what was this gal? I mean, why the hell did she go through all this?
I guess she wanted a house pretty bad. Can you imagine being that guy? He's all pumped. He's like, wait, no. She said the realtor gave us the keys, and I saw her handing the paperwork.
I wonder if
now
this is
driving a stolen truck.
Is this the last straw or the first evidence that he's married a lunatic? I wonder.
Yeah,
can't be the first.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't go 0 to 60 like that. There had to be some steps along the way.
Yep. The only thing I can think of that made her snap is that, maybe they were trying for a long time to get a house, and she decided I'm just gonna take matters in my own hands. But obviously, she didn't think this one through the long game. I mean, the homeowner's eventually going to say, hey, wait a minute here. That's my place. The $1 Million Bracket is coming back, where you pick a perfect bracket for the men's tournament this month, and you'll win $1 million. Register now at 93x.com. Sponsored locally by Xfinity 10G, the network made for streaming.
Am I going to have to win that again, Josh?
I think last time they were kind of pissed that you won. Yeah, you can't win again.
Somebody step up and win this besides me.
I'm sure you'll have a perfect bracket again.
Always.
But yeah, you can't win. Former Vikings running back Robert Smith turns 52, one of Nick's favorites. Ex-bassist for Metallica Jason Newsted, 61 today. Catherine O'Hara from Beetlejuice, Home Alone, Best in Show, and many, many more turns 70.
So wildly talented.
Very funny. I'd love to say the name of her show, but we're not allowed to say that. Very popular.
Doo-doo Creek.
Congrats to Lauren for winning the Minnesota Girls 112-pound state wrestling tournament from Electrical Goat Farmer Jesus. Happy birthday to Anoka County Transit Planning Jesus, who turned 50 this weekend from Bel Air Drag Racing Jesus. Happy birthday to Al from his Chaboys, who, by the way, Wapple, the Chaboys formally challenged the Doink Gang to a round of Frisbee golf.
Oh, dude, you guys are so on.
That's from Machine Parts Shipper. I'd like to personally say happy 13th birthday to my nephew Don, and I know Ashley has a shout out as well.
Happy birthday to Mikey from Rosalie and Crop Farmer Jesus.
That's the news.
Care 11's Randy Shaver.
Strut that ass, strut that ass, strut that ass.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
This for college basketball history. Caitlin Clark becomes the all-time leading scorer in major college basketball history, passing Pistol Pete Maravich.
History-making shot from the free throw line there. Is that going through your mind at all?
Not really, but then when they announce it and everybody screams, that's when I know, but pretty cool.
I am more... Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm fangirling so hard. Oh my God. Thanks for being here.
Hey, this is special.
Oh my God.
It is so cool to see how we see each other and what that means. And now she's growing up and look at her. Well, I'm just so proud.
She did it, everybody. Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. She did it.
That's awesome.
Despite nobody believing in her. Nobody thought she could do it. But despite that, Caitlin Clark is now the all-time leading scorer in NCAA basketball history. She hopped over Pistol Pete Maravich's scoring record. There you friggin' go.
Fantastic. It was a little anticlimactic that it happened at the free throw line, though.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I was watching the game, and we were just kind of like, oh, well. It would have been much more fun if she would have hit that big pull-up three that would have clinched the record.
She clinched it at the free throw line. That's very Joel Embiid of her to do something at the free throw line.
And now on to the WNBA to make minimum wage.
Every time we talk about Caitlin Clark, you guys throw this dark cloud WNBA story on the works. What's the problem with the both of you?
Well, it's just too bad that, I know she's going to make money from endorsements. Yeah, we've talked about that. She's still going to maintain that. But I think the entry-level salary for a WNBA player the first 3 years is about $70,000 a year.
Who cares? She's the all-time greatest scorer in college basketball history.
Awesome.
She can go just get drunk and have fun in the WNBA. Who cares? I had never bothered throughout this whole process, looking up some of the names that fill out the top scorers in college basketball history. Now, I only have dudes in front of me. I had a hard time on my computer to try to find a mixed list, but people like Antoine Davis. I think I'm picturing the right guy, but maybe I'm wrong.
The Pacers, right?
That's who I'm picturing. No, it couldn't have been Randy because it says his college career started in 2018 and closed out.
No.
So there's different Antoine Davis. But there's players like Lionel Simmons, who I remember him, went to LaSalle University. Doug McDermott.
Sure, who's still playing in the NBA now.
Right. Kind of interesting, because, of course, you have to factor in, how long did they stay in school? Mm-hmm. Sometimes, I guess, from looking at the list, a lot of the characters were from smaller schools where they might have been the only friggin' option, at offense.
Right.
And obviously, you have to have talent. You just can't. If Wapple's the only guy with offensive talent, he's likely not going to score 3,000 points. These are going to be talented people, of course, as well.
I watched a good part of that game yesterday, actually, her game, and I heard the best argument back against, a lot of people are saying, well, Pete Maravich didn't have the three-point line, and so,
right.
All this stuff. But I did hear the best counter-argument back to that yesterday. Pete Maravich apparently shot an average of 36 times a game, I think, when he was in college. And Caitlin Clark has shot an average, I think, they said 16 or 17 times a game.
That's a hell of a deal.
Yeah, but the deal is that she can shoot the three. So she's making up for the points that...
She is, exactly. But that's my point, is that it's the best counter-argument I've heard for people saying, there should be an asterisk or whatever. But she's not shooting as much as he did. She's shooting half as much as he did, and she broke his record.
Some of the other characters here, all-time great NCAA scorers. Oh, my God, what the hell happened there?
Press a button there?
I don't know.
That was fun.
Did you guys hear?
Yeah, this has happened like 3 or 4 times to me already this morning.
Oh, really? What? Did you press something, Waffle?
No, I didn't touch anything.
Where this thing disappears and then
Did my voice completely disappear, Randy?
Sounded like you were in a tunnel.
Yeah, it sounded very echoey for a second there.
We're having problems with the streaming. Again, we apologize to folks streaming this morning. It's been kind of a technical nightmare.
Hersey Hawkins.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
For him.
By the time he got into the NBA, he was more known as a defensive specialist, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Well, then there are some all-time greats like Oscar Robertson, Danny Manning, Elvin Hayes, Lara Bird,
Biggie.
Tyler Hansborough.
Oh, yeah. UNC.
Oh, played for UNC.
Yeah. I mean, for a second there, I thought, did he check out? But I'm thinking of Eric Montrose. Otis. I was thinking of Montrose.
Sistrunk?
Pardon me?
Otis Sistrunk?
Otis Sistrunk?
Is that a joke I'm supposed to know?
Gesundheit?
Otis is
do you
drunk.
Not know?
He was a football player.
Otis Sistrunk.
Dump it on me.
Do you not know who Otis Sistrunk was?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, he played for the Oakland Raiders. He was like a defensive lineman. So as soon as you said Otis, I just said Sistrunk.
It sounds like. So it's a joke. Otis is drunk is the joke?
No, Otis Sistrunk is his name.
But you just said it's a joke.
Because he wasn't a basketball player.
Allen Houston, J.J. Redick.
Hugh Jorgen.
Hank Gathers. Okay, eliminating Caitlin Clark. Who, you guys go ahead. What dude, before Caitlin Clark came around, what dude would have been the Big Ten's all-time greatest scorer, according to what I'm looking at, in Big Ten history? I'll give you a hint. In the early 90s, he did make an appearance in a motion picture about college basketball, where he played himself. Starring Nick Nolte and Shaquille O'Neal.
Blue Chips is the movie.
He played for Bobby Knight.
Isaiah Thomas?
No. Calbert Cheney.
Oh,
Calbert Cheney.
I would have gotten that. No,
Calbert
I was going
Cheney.
to guess Glenn Rice maybe, but
Calbert Cheney scored 2,613 points for the University of Indiana between 1989 and 1993. So what did Clark end up at? 3,000. What did she end up at, Caitlin Clark?
Well, she's still going.
She's still, yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, where is she at now?
I think she's at 3,685.
Jeez Louise.
A lot of points.
All right, well, we talked about the Timberwolves game yesterday. They lost by a point at home to the L.A. Clippers, and I got a little aggravated.
Tough matchup.
I got a little aggravated.
Mad because it's Clippers?
Well, that's part of it. I dislike the L.A. Clippers. You know that. But it's more, I'm tired of watching this team struggle in the last 3-4 minutes of basketball games. It's happened enough times now to where it's a problem.
What was with the going to the basket for the two with 3 seconds left last night?
Yeah, I didn't quite get that either.
Bold strategy.
That play again. You know, they've had a great season. I'm not taking anything away from what they've done, but they're not mature enough down the stretch, like you're saying, Nick. I mean, you got to have some realization of what the score is and how much time is left.
They have some problems in that department. Love them, like you said. Very proud of them. Been a blast this year, but it's just, when those clutch moments come, you see the boys lock up a little bit. You see the guys get a little nerve-wracked and make some silly decisions. Clippers are a good basketball team, but they lost by a point. Tonight they have the, the Portland Trailblazers in town at Target Center.
Well, that should be a win.
I would say that's a W. And it better be, because they've got a tough road trip coming up.
Yes.
Well, tell me about this road trip. I haven't looked ahead.
Well, they're going out of town for a couple weeks because of the Big Ten women's and men's basketball championships. So they're going to be out of Target Center for 2 weeks. They got to go to, off the top of my head, they go to Cleveland. They go play both LA teams, Clippers and the Lakers. They play at Utah twice, like back-to-back, and that's never an easy place to play. And I think they also go to Indiana, and Indiana's not bad.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a deal. But that was silly. Some silly decisions made late in that game last night. And every time I see Norman Powell play, I badly want him on the Timberwolves roster. That guy can just shoot the lights out. You know who I'm talking about? Yeah. He's good buddies.
Yes, absolutely.
Him and his older brother is named Otis Sistrunk. He played for the... The NBA's best club, record-wise, the Boston Celtics whooped the Golden State Warriors yesterday by 52 points.
Do you think the Warriors are in a situation where it's time for the rebuild?
I hope so.
That would be fun.
They just got throttled yesterday.
Good. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting on this. So the Celtics have now set a league record by recording their third win this season by 50 points or more. That's disgusting. They also have won 11 games in a row. Three games this year they've won by 50 points or more. They're beating teams by an average of 22.1 points per game over this 11-game winning streak.
I don't necessarily agree with what I'm about to say, but I think teams like the Warriors, I just got to quantify that a little bit because I
don't believe it, but I'm going to say it.
But I think teams like the Warriors and the Lakers and Dallas and even Phoenix to a degree, they just look at this year as let's get in the playoffs because the teams at the top don't have playoff experience and maybe we can make a run. I don't think they're ready for a rebuild quite yet.
How do you feel that now that you said it? Do you believe it anymore?
No, I do believe it, but I'm not taking anything away. I think sometimes I say things and people think that I'm railing on the hometown team, and I'm not. But
you do, Brad. You have to admit that you do rail on the hometown team quite a bit.
I think they've had a heck of a year. I mean,
you don't like them?
No, I do. I do actually like them.
Here's the deal. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone sell a statement on the air the way Brad did a couple minutes ago.
I like that.
I think it's great.
That's pure honesty.
More simply put, if Golden State got into a 7-game series in the first round with the Timberwolves, I don't think they would fear us.
Well, no, because
I don't think so either.
They don't fear anybody. They got guys on that club that have won 4
times. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But it is you railing on the hometown team.
No.
LeBron James passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar last season to become the NBA's all-time leading scorer. Now he's added to that record. He dropped the 40,000th point of his career Saturday night against the Denver Nuggets. He's the only player in NBA history with 40,000 points in the regular season.
They take a shot at this. James against Porter. Drive, spins, gets inside. It's good. It's 40,000 for LeBron James. The NBA's all-time leading scorer with another milestone.
Okay, there you go. By comparison, Kevin Durant, the Durantula, he's the next highest active player, only has 28,342 points. That's nearly 12,000 behind LeBron James.
Jeez.
So, here's something from ESPN. They're claiming that, and with what I just said about Kevin Durant, LeBron James' record there seems quite unreachable. Unreachable is how you say it. Unreachable. ESPN is covering some other sports records that they think are seemingly unreachable, whether it's because of the way the game has changed since the record was set, or the absurd is how you say it, talent of the record holders compared to the rest of the league. Maybe a mixture of both. So here's that short list of records you'll probably never see broken, or at least not in our lifetimes. Emmitt Smith has 18,355 rushing yards.
Yeah, running backs don't have the longevity anymore.
Probably not now.
Well, longevity, sure, and also just it's flag football now. You don't have a focus on running the football. That's a big factor too. A bigger factor.
Yep, I think you're correct.
The active leader rushing yards right now, Derrick Henry has 9,502 yards.
No,
it's ridiculous to even think anyone would come close to that. Jerry Rice, 22,000 some odd receiving yards in his career.
Yeah,
that could be broken.
Yes,
the way the league's going, like we were talking about.
Okay, you think so? I mean, right now the active leader is Julio Jones, 13,000 some odd yards.
Well, I'm just saying that I agree with Brad. The game has changed so much, and I think will continue to evolve to be more of a passing game. And
But, Jarrah played 21 years. 21 years.
No, I know.
But it took him 21 years to get 22,000
And there's more games
yards.
now.
There's more games, and a guy like Tyreek Hill, I think, had 1,800 yards last year.
Sure, okay. I'll go along with it.
If he plays 12 years, there it is.
They also say no one is ever going to catch his receiving touchdown record. He has 197 receiving touchdowns. Wow. The next highest receiver on that list, he's long retired, Randy Moss, had 41 less than that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wayne Gretzky, 1,963 career assists. The active leader is Sid Crosby with 972. And you know the old line, if Gretzky never scored a goal, he'd still lead the NHL in total points on assists alone.
That's insane. Yeah. It's crazy.
Cy Young, 749 complete games. Forget this one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Never.
The active leader, Adam Wainwright, has 28 career complete games. Of course, baseball is far different than it was in 1877 or whenever the hell Cy Young was.
Correct.
But this is still kind of interesting. All big league pitchers combined for 36 complete games in the year 20 plus 22. Cy Young had 36 or more complete games by himself in 11 separate seasons. But of course, it's just a far different setup when it comes to pitching. Wilt Chamberlain, in a single season, he averaged 50.4 points per game. That was 1961-62. He averaged 50.4 points per game in a single season. The closest here is James Harden, douche, averaged 36.1 points per game in the year 2018-19. They say here, unless the NBA introduces a 4-point shot, this isn't happening. Boston Celtics, 8 straight NBA titles. These are records that ESPN believes will never be touched. Cal Ripken Jr., 2,632 consecutive ball games played. UConn Huskies women's basketball, 111 straight wins. 111 straight wins for UConn women's basketball. Ricky Henderson, 1,400 career stolen bases. The active leader is Elvis Andrews, has 347 career stolen bases. This is how they put it. Someone would have to steal 78 bases a year for more than 18 years to break. But, again, this is a mix of incredible talent and the game just evolving into something. That's fun. By the way, one more thing about LeBron James reaching 40,000 stinking points. It happened, what was that, Friday or Saturday? Saturday. It fell on the same day as Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game, so take that however you like. What do you think about those pigs now? The boys at the bar are giving up on the pigs.
No, that's official then.
They say the arithmetic the arithmetic is too much to take. Yeah. But yesterday they got a hat trick from the Russian kid. They beat the San Jose Sharks 4-3.
Right.
After losing to the Blues and the Predators.
Yeah, which are 2 teams ahead of them in the standings.
The fellas at the beer hall were waving the white flag.
Yeah.
I don't
think it's certainly not official, but yeah, they're way back.
No.
They're
with
8
2 teams to jump over.
Yeah, they're 8 out, and they've got to jump 2 teams, 8 out with 20 to go.
I ain't going anywhere just yet. I'm not going anywhere yet. But the final score probably didn't indicate they were the better team yesterday. For Christ's sake, old Phil, the goalie, only had to stop 12 pucks. Who burped into the microphone right there?
That was me. I went.
Did you burp into the microphone?
No, I went. Oh, yeah.
I thought we were going back to the old days. When we were
Nah.
start burping into the. Josh and I used to burp into the microphone.
That's
We did, and I feel
ridiculous.
shame.
No.
We did. I
We
don't know
wanted
why-
to share it.
I don't know what the hell was it.
Why did you do that?
I don't know why. We were young and we just thought it was funny. I thought Wapple just went.
We've matured quite a bit, Wap.
We had a boss pull us aside and say, "Will you stop burping into the microphone?" We would just let her buck. I don't know what the hell was wrong with us.
It's funny.
So
you guys would even like wait and let it build up. Hold on.
I don't know.
We were pretty good at it.
I don't know if there
I'd
was
like to
that kind
say-
of forethought into it, but we.
Were either of you the type of guys that could just do it on command?
No,
No,
not-
hell no.
I mean, yeah, but not a good. It'd be
Yeah.
not worth your time. The other ones you should get in line for. Pretty good.
Phil, the goalie, only had to stop 12 pucks. Well, 16. He missed 4 of them. But anyway, you know what I mean. They played a better game than a 4-3 score indicates. How about all the former pigs on the ice for San Jose? Mark Granlund.
He got a goal.
That Sturm kid. The Kakinen kid in goal. Addison. Cunnin.
It's like the Wild West.
There you go. They go to Arizona on Thursday. So they ain't dead yet.
My
Wapple.
That was Ashley.
That makes me nauseated.
Oh, that was a keeper.
This week, the boys' high school hockey tournament starts.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that when that whole scene kicks in.
Starts on Wednesday.
But everyone was talking about the scene down in, was it Rochester?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where they played the game, but when Rochester beat Lakeville to make it to the tournament, it's the first time a Rochester school has played in the tournament in a long, long time. And some of the students went so bananas they broke the glass down onto the ice when their team won. It was a crazy setup. Do you guys see that?
It's on 93x.com.
Look like fun.
Check out the video there.
It did?
Yeah.
Not for the guy that went ass over tea kettle.
Did someone fall onto the ice?
Yeah.
Did anyone get hurt?
I didn't see
really
anybody
look like it.
see anything written about that.
They kind of went through the glass, and then everyone kind of scurries back up the bleachers like, hey, that was not me.
No, I didn't touch it.
Well, I bet the crew at the ice arena was pissed off.
Yeah.
I would think
yeah.
so.
That was always the biggest pain in the ass when I worked at the ice arena, when the glass would get squirrely.
When I was in high school, we had a section, I don't think it was a title game, semifinal game, it was played at the Bloomington Ice Garden, where the seats go right up onto the boards,
Been there many times.
Yeah, so the setup I'm talking about. Our team won in double overtime, the players all come rushing to the student section, we're right on top of them. My buddy was kind of up there, and we just flipped him up and over onto the ice.
You went onto the ice?
No, one of my buddies did, yeah, we flipped him up and over.
Did he hurt himself?
Landed on the players. They kind of helped him down, and then he just scurried off because he didn't want to, make the moment about him. And to this day, I'm still mad that he didn't just eat it really hard on the ice.
Yeah, I would have hoped you would have hurt your friend in that fashion as well.
Yeah. He just scurried off and somehow gracefully made it off. He was shuffling with his Nikes, on the ice, and got off. Thankfully, okay. But yeah, that could have been bad.
Yeah, that always sucked when the glass would get squirrely at the ice arena. Yeah, you got to know what you're doing to put that stuff back together. We hated doing the.
Got an update here from licensed therapist Jesus, who said 2 kids did get cut up, but nothing major, luckily.
I remember when we were in high school, we had just that short-ass pane of glass, running along around the entire rink. So you could hang over the glass as a high school kid, put your middle finger right in that kid's face from Minnetonka or Edina. Screw you, pal. We hate your guy. They had that real low, cheap, old-school glass, right? Mm-hmm. And then one game, a puck came out of play and rang one of our cheerleaders in the friggin' nose and broke her nose into a million pieces. And then they put that big tall glass up there.
Oh.
We were upset. So what? One cheerleader got a broken nose. Now we can't hang over the glass and tell the Edina kids what we think about them.
Thanks, cheerleader.
Thanks a lot, cheerleader, not paying attention to the game.
You ruined it for the rest of us by breaking your nose.
You should have seen her face in the hallway, dude. Oh, my damn. Looked like she got hit by a bus. We had a good time with it.
The empathy, it just drips around here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, man. All right, so that'll be fun when the tournament starts on Wednesday, I think, these days.
Class A and then Double A.
Gopher hockey, they went ahead and had a real exciting couple of games with Michigan. That's the end of the regular season. They got Penn State in the first round of the Big Ten men's hockey tournament. Penn State this weekend. Best of 3 kind of a setup, okay? Friday, Saturday, and if necessary, Sunday. They look pretty good going into this portion of the playoffs, so I got faith in the Golden Gopher hockey program. The gals, they beat Mankato, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they were playing Mankato, and they've advanced on. So we got the tournament, all that tournament fever. Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder, you feel it?
Yeah.
Yep.
That time of year, it's March Madness.
How about a gal from Northfield, a wrestler?
Yes.
And this is where you can stick it up your ass, lamb jam Jesus. I just got a text that says, how come you guys talk about hockey, but you never talk about the wrestling? Gotcha, lamb jam Jesus, right here.
Suck it.
Kaylee Graber, I think is how you say it. Kaylee Graber, a 16-year-old kid from Northfield. She won 3 matches in the boys division.
First time ever.
Of the state tournament. That's never happened before.
It's never happened before.
First
Not
girl.
only did she win her first match, she won, as you said, 3 to finish 5th.
First girl to ever win a match or medal for boys wrestling. So what happened to where she wasn't in the girls tournament? Just not enough competition in her weight class?
No.
She decided
she just decided. I mean, you can opt to wrestle wrestle in the boys.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yep. So
I'm going to show my ignorance
That's
a little
pretty
bit
impressive.
here. Do they have a girls tournament?
They do.
Okay.
Yes, they do. Yep.
She's been wrestling since she was 5. She had older brothers. And she fell in love with it, and now she's a history maker. Kaylee Graber from Northfield. Good for you. God dang it.
That's impressive.
Show those
I think her first win was a pin, too.
Oh, wow.
Show those bastards how you do it. Speaking of wrestling, Sting has wrestled his final match.
Mm-hmm.
Were you able to deal with this, Wapple?
It was pretty sad.
Was it sad?
Yeah, watching his sons come out and everything. One of his sons was dressed as the old Sting, where he had the face paint on.
That's
Right.
cool.
And the other son came out with like the trench coat look.
Right.
Sting.
We had some people texting this morning saying they were pretty emotional about that.
Yeah. Local legend, former wrestling referee Rob Page wanted to borrow my sunglasses. So no one could see the tears in his eyes.
He might be the biggest Sting fan ever.
I missed this. And I got to be honest, I was never a big Sting guy.
I never really was either.
Mainly because I think in his early years, he was wrestling, help me out if I'm wrong here, NWA, and that wasn't available to me on television. Where I could go to my dad's place, because he had cable, and watch WCW, but I never got to see much NWA. I'd read about it in magazines. Was that everyone else's same?
Yeah, and then also he kind of went over to TNA for a little bit too, and I kind of never really watched TNA
I like
wrestling.
TNA wrestling. That was crazy. But anyway, Sting has wrestled in his final match. He's one of the greats, and like Wapple said, he had his sons escort him to the ring. He and Darby Allin wrestled the Young Bucks, and it sounds like we missed out on a lot of fun. I'd like to see this. What do you call him again?
Darby Allin?
No, I said that already, didn't I? Yeah, he was wrestling with Darby Allin against the Young Bucks. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat showed up.
Oh, wow. Oh, nice.
The Nature Boy was there.
Mm-hmm.
He got super kicked.
Oh, the H did?
A double super kick right to his chin.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the
Young Bucks.
The Bucks hit Sting with the Wapple. BTE trigger.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like fun.
And Darby Allin went through some plated glass, it looked like.
You got to throw him through something.
Yeah, he's gonna hurt himself.
He's 4'11" and weighs 66 pounds. You got to throw him through something.
Yeah, remember when they threw him down the flight of stairs? They're like, all right, hey
There you go. See you at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah.
He volunteers for this crap. That's pretty cool that he had What's His Nuts and Flair there. Why can't I think of the other guy I mentioned here a minute ago?
Ricky the Dragon?
Huh?
What?
Ricky the Dragon
Ricky the
Steamboat?
Dragon, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, both of you talked at the same time. I couldn't understand.
I thought it was Otis Sistrunk.
What? Sticking with some television wrestling here. There were people out there, Summers, who thought that AEW television wrestler Hikaru Shida was Shohei Ohtani's new wife.
That's good.
I knew I'd get waffle.
I saw the headline, but what makes it so funny?
Just because I guess I don't know what makes it so funny.
Well, I mean, Waffle went nuts, so I thought maybe there was something about her that made that ridiculous.
I'm absolutely a fan of her. I know who she is, so I think it's kind of ridiculous.
I think Waffle and I just get giddy to be able to say these names out loud.
Totally.
I mean, Hikaru Shida is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, she is.
Absolutely stunning. So that part isn't ridiculous to think that she'd pair up with Shohei, but I think we just got excited just because we're talking about her. So
remember when Sheeta had the shirt that said "Holy Sheeta"?
Yeah,
that's cool.
I want that shirt.
She's excellent at what she does, and like I said, just so, I mean, oh God, I dream about her. Some website was messing with the general public, so last week Ohtani comes forward and says, I have a new wife. She's a Japanese lady. Some website decided to, try to get some clicks by spinning a BS story. They were even citing ESPN and TMZ as sources to try to get. So all that was a dirty attempt to get clicks. And I guess it worked with some people. Ohtani said that his wife is a, quote, normal Japanese woman who would leave him in a heartbeat for the chance to sit front row at a Mr. Big concert. Ohtani is, a big star, but so is Shida in Japan. So it was all a dirty trick. What else is going on here, boys? Well, very sad. Very sad. Chris Mortensen has passed away.
Yeah. Too bad.
At only 72 years old. Apparently the guy had been battling throat cancer for a number of years.
Yeah.
And I know all of us saw him on television a handful of times. Covering the NFL on ESPN. Received all different kinds of awards. The list of former, current NFL players, former, current NFL writers and television personalities all sending out their condolences. The list is long.
Yes, it is. He was the first real, insider, NFL insider. He was the guy who had all the phone numbers, had all the contacts, got the big stories. And that started a trend, right? It started.
So he was like Adam Schefter?
Before Adam Schefter. Way before Adam Schefter.
Dude's a stalker.
Yeah. Way before Adam Schefter. Yeah, he was the one that started all of that. And, quite honestly, I think all the other sports followed up with having one or two guys also kind of become what he was to the NFL. I mean, Brad, correct me if I'm wrong. I can't. There might have been a baseball writer who, was quite the insider, maybe along the same times that Mort was for the NFL. But it seems like Mort was one of the first guys to ever be like that insider for a professional sport.
Yeah, Peter Gammons was a little bit.
That's the one I was going to say.
That's
I mean, he was a little bit for baseball. Adam Schefter's an interesting dude, man. He worked in the NFL off season one time about 5-6 years ago. He was a sideline reporter for a Timberwolves game on ESPN, so I got to meet him and talk to him for a little while. I asked him a couple of questions about, how do you stay this connected? He had 5 phones on him when I asked him that. He pulled out all 5 phones and he showed me his system. He's got one phone for general managers and owners, like he's got them marked. Okay, he's got one phone that he's got players' contacts in. He's got one phone that's a personal phone. I mean, he's got literally had 5 phones on him at the time when I asked him that question, and he pulled them all out, and he had them color-coded, and it's, insane.
This sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
It mentions here that Mortensen wrote for the Sporting News. He wrote for Sport Magazine. I remember that one. Did you guys ever grab a copy of Sport Magazine way back in the day? He's got a wife and a couple of kids. That's a damn shame. 72 years old. Our condolences to the friends and family of Chris Mortensen. Speaking of the silly NFL, now are they still in the middle of this damn combine? Anyone know?
I think it's over.
I thought it wrapped up,
Is it
but maybe
over?
not.
I never follow this nonsense. A lot of folks were talking about Sam Hartman is a kid who I guess played quarterback at Notre Dame, and he's hoping to be drafted.
Wake Forest before that.
Wake Forest, Notre Dame. He's hoping to be drafted into the National Football League. He ran the 40-yard dash like they're all required to, I guess. And if you watch the slow-mo video of Sam Hartman running the 40-year-old, how do you say it?
40-yard.
40-year-old
The
dash.
40-year-old virgin.
Yes.
Only Mankato State people are allowed at that one.
The 40-year-old dash. If you watch the slow-motion video, apparently his hair just does magical things.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yep.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
As it is it's blowing and jostling along as he's running the 40-year-old dash.
It made me feel things.
Yeah, he could play Superman or something. He's got movie star looks.
They say that Trevor Lawrence may soon have competition for the title of quarterback with the best hairdo in the NFL.
He's even got a perfect beard, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think his hair
Beautiful.
is better than Trevor Lawrence's. But it's pretty hilarious. They slowed that down.
Slow motion version had folks wetting themselves. I saw one or two tweets. One of them said that this kid is an absolute lock for a 7-figure deal with whatever shampoo company he wants.
100%.
Head and Shoulders will be all over him.
I just want to touch it a little bit.
You want to talk to him for a little bit?
No, I want to touch it a little bit.
Oh, touch it
like
a little
those
bit.
those Axe commercials where the girl's always like running her hands through the guy's hair.
That really happens. That really happens. I put on Axe body every morning. I put it. Did you smell it on me this morning, John?
No.
I pour on that Axe body spray.
Sometimes you really go for it. I didn't notice today.
I want to see AJ Styles in a 40-yard dash now.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, I wanna see
AJ Styles.
Yeah, I want to see that hair flowing in slow-mo. That'd be beautiful.
All right. Rumors of Kirk Cousins going to play for the Atlanta Falcons are heating up again. Can someone please get this over with?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Right.
Just
Yeah. I don't
end
care
it.
which way
Yeah.
it goes. I just want it to be done.
Then I also read Vikings head coach Kevin O'Conrad doesn't exactly, it says here, doesn't exactly sound like someone who's convinced that Captain Deathrocks will return to the Vikings next
Where do
season.
things stand in your conversations with Kirk?
I know Kirk, where he's at in this whole process. He's earned the right to be a free agent. I know Kirk's going to go through a full process. He's a process guy. Hopefully we continue to be a strong part in that process and we figure out a way to keep him a Minnesota Viking. But my expectation is we're not going to be the only ones that would like Kirk Cousins to be our quarterback of our team in 2024.
Yeah, get it over with, because we just don't care anymore. How about this? Should the Vikings consider trading for Zach Wilson in a backup role? Well, yeah.
No.
Yes.
Hide your moms, hide your aunts.
No.
Our hot aunts need a reason to watch football, too.
Not impressed.
I also saw where the Vikings may be in the running for Justin Fields if the Bears decide that that's the direction they're going to go.
Whatever happened to that DeVito guy?
Oh,
cold cuts?
Yeah, he's just kind of fallen off the face of the earth.
What was his nickname? It wasn't Cold Cuts.
Cutlass.
Cutlets.
Tommy
Cutlets.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right. I don't know, and I don't care what happened to him.
Yeah, who had the better run, him or the pastronaut?
Better run? What do you mean?
Well, just all this attention on them all at once, and then all of a sudden, 2 days later, it's like, all right, that was fun.
Did the
I
pastor?
like the Cutlet story a little bit better. He's living at home. He's getting mom to do his laundry.
Yeah.
That's a better story. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I hear you. They were similar. They just kind of came and went before you could say Jack Robinson. What's this? I got smart mouth text messages coming in. From one of them's from Duke's Mayonnaise Loving Jesus. What 50-year-old man wears Axe, he says. There's an age limit on being sexy?
There was definitely an Axe backlash when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
I didn't know it was a thing.
I didn't smell it for years until I met Nick, and I was like, oh, it's actually not that bad.
No, it's not. It's just like the Nickelback thing.
Yeah.
Once it
Yeah.
becomes popular, then all the hip people crap all over it.
People would just bomb our locker rooms with
Yes.
them. They would just like pierce them open and they'd throw them in the locker room and just smell like a bomb. Oh,
what?
Yeah, Axe everywhere.
I love it. And then I had a question come in from a listener, Lake Street Handshake Jesus. Back to that silly NFL Combine. The question, did anyone schlong flop out at the Combine?
No. I didn't see that.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
A couple years ago, that one guy kicked it right out of his spandex shorts.
Yep. That thing just kind of wanted to come out. It's like, hello.
He said he was embarrassed, and I don't know why.
I don't know how he could.
He kicked it loose from his spandex, and it finished before him in the 40-yard.
Yeah, I would have found any excuse ever, though, if I was that guy.
His DMs just lit up.
That was a while ago. Looks like 2017. Chris Jones was his name.
Lucky man.
Chris, Jesus.
That's not the Chris Jones that plays for the Chiefs now, is it?
I was just looking
That's what I was wondering.
I don't know.
I think that is.
Oh,
Yeah.
It looks just like him. It's got to be.
What a lucky man.
You guys remember
He's
when
got it all.
You guys remember the
Yeah, yes. And it all started at the Combine.
the story of that kid's nuts jumping out of his shorts in high school? You remember that story? I just told a week ago or so, I was talking about night school. I had to take night school to graduate. And school ended at, 2 o'clock or whatever, and night school wouldn't start till like 3:30. So me and the rest of the derelict night school students, we would go into the gym and play basketball to kill time. And the track team would also go in there and play some hoops with us before they did their track practice. And we had some great games. And there was one game where I noticed that, no one would come near this one kid. And I'm like, why isn't anybody guarding this guy, right? I went to the sideline to take a breather, and everyone's kind of pointing and laughing, and I didn't know what everyone was pointing and laughing at, and I look over, and this kid from the track team, he had this old pair of sweatpants that were all full of holes, and his effing bag had jumped out of his jock, and then somehow meandered its way through a hole, and his nut bag was swinging around while he's out there guarding playing basketball.
Ah, poor kid.
He looked like a damn dog running around a dog park with his balls just as he's running up and down. And we were dying. We were dying laughing.
Did he not notice, or is he just going along with it?
No,
Okay.
he did not notice. Eventually, he wondered, why isn't anyone guarding me and why is everyone laughing at me? And he looked down, and there's his bag hanging, and oh, God, he got the hell out of there.
Yeah, we had a kid, once again, we were playing basketball, and he had those breakaway pants.
Yeah.
Sure.
He went up for a layup, and someone kind of went up to block him, too, and they didn't get up. They tore his pants right off.
Oh, yeah.
Dude's just naked. He's in his boxers now.
Oh, okay. So he did have boxers on. He
Yeah.
wasn't just free balling it.
Oh, yeah. He ran out of there pretty quick.
You got to be careful. All right, there you go, Randy and Brad. We got her done. How was your weekend for the both of you? All right?
Yeah, it was all right. It was my wife's birthday Saturday, so we went to see Matt Rife.
What does that mean? What does it mean to be Matt Rife?
He's a comedian.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is he a national guy, like a big time?
Apparently, I'd never heard of him. But the place was
That
packed.
sure was a choice, Brad.
What was that?
I said that sure was a choice.
Oh, you don't like him?
No.
You got a
That
problem?
wasn't my choice, but my wife
Oh, she wanted to go see him?
How was he? Was he good?
He was okay. It wasn't awful. It wasn't. She even said she was a little disappointed, but
what?
Yeah, he's young. I think he's only like 28.
Yeah.
Isn't he the guy that everybody hollers at him, and that's kind of his stick, is cutting off the crowd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I've watched him on.
He had a
few
Netflix
times.
special.
I don't find him funny. I'm sorry.
I didn't either. But
all right. Well, you gave it a shot.
We did.
You gave it a shot. So so then Josh is still the dick joke guy, right? This guy?
Dick joke guy.
Yes.
Yep.
It's going to be very hard to pry that title away from him because he's the king.
I don't want to be. I am not. I am not the dick joke.
I saw Seinfeld about 3 months ago with my wife, and I'd see Seinfeld 10 out of 10 times over that guy.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, he does put on a good show. I remember, I wasn't expecting it, but when he first stepped out onto the stage, first time I saw him, I was completely starstruck, and I did not expect to feel that way at all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You guys ever see Dice?
No.
Unfortunately, no.
I hear you. All right, we got to get going. Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder, thanks very much. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
And we'll be back here before you know it on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Our customers are our top priority, whether that's providing same-day service or solving a cooling issue for that addition on your home. Ashley, tell our listeners about this month's AC specials.
Get started on your spring cleaning checklist now. With the weather warming up, it's the perfect time to get your AC tuned up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get $40 off a furnace or AC tune-up, or double your savings and get $80 off when you get them done at the same time. Visit standardheating.com to save now.
Every week, Michael Rosenbaum is getting deep with someone new on the Inside of You podcast.
Let's get inside of Shelly Hennick.
Who
So
knows?
Obliterated's on Netflix.
I had the best time.
That's
it was
great.
challenging, but it was like the
That doesn't always
showrunners.
happen. Everybody's trying to make a show and you're not.
This was a dream.
It's no fun.
Genuinely. And
That's
if it wasn't,
beautiful.
I would just keep my mouth shut and talk about something else.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
it
like,
was.
hey, it was fine. Because I've done that. I've asked people and they're like,
Yeah.
Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, wherever you listen.
Just be mindful, move out of their way, and just move on.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
I don't know why it always has to be so cold in here. It's cold and I have to go to the bathroom. It's 8:29. You're listening to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. And thank you for that. Really, honestly, that's how we pay the bills. So thank you for listening. Before we move on to this and that, a few minutes ago, Brad Ryder was on the line with us. He was talking about how he took the old lady out to see a stand-up comic over the weekend, a guy named Mitch Ryder.
Matt Rife.
And the Rolling
and the Delano
Silver Bullet Band. What was the guy's name?
Matt Rife.
Matt Rife. Okay, he went. I don't know who anyone is anymore. I don't know who anyone is. So I have to ask you, now that I got this Matt Rife thing nailed, and I'll never forget it, I have to ask you about another famous person. Ashley sent some video to all of us. I think maybe it was directed to me, of some gorgeous blonde who made an appearance on the Saturday Night Live program over the weekend by the name of Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah.
Yep. That broke the internet a little bit.
She's wearing a very revealing top, and she's this cute blonde. Who is this lady? I've never heard of her. You're familiar with Sydney Sweeney?
I had to look her up yesterday or Saturday. I saw she was the host. I watched the show, and I hadn't heard of her before that.
She's a singer, an actress.
She's an actress. She used to be on like
influencer. Is she an influencer?
I think she answered the question. Maybe. She used to star in like some like small little shows that barely anyone's ever really heard of. But then she was in Euphoria. It's like a kind of like a teen drama, but a little bit more
very
serious.
Dark teen drama.
Very dark teen drama, and that.
Oh, I thought you said dork.
No.
Dark.
And that made her very like popular. Everybody fell in love with her.
Well, I appreciate the video. She's gorgeous.
Of course, the last couple months, it seems like men have really finally figured out who she is.
Okay.
And that has, you can see why. She has.
Well, she got a gig on Saturday Night
perfect
Live.
boobs.
That's still a big deal, right? To be on Saturday Night Live?
Perfect Yeah. boobs.
She has perfect boobs?
She does.
Yeah, people say that she's going to be the one that makes boobs, I guess, more popular than butt for the first time in a while.
Gotcha, sure, yeah.
She's a lot older than I would have thought. She's 26. I thought she looks like a teenager to me.
I know, right? Yeah. I had to look it up, too, to make sure it was safe for me to find her pretty.
Big, fat dumpster asses have been the thing for so long.
Yeah.
You think that, or you and the rest of maybe the social media animals, they think that Sydney Sweeney's boobs are going to Make boobs the thing again.
Yep.
I don't know. Lanny Wilson. Oh, boy.
I don't know what it means to be Lanny Wilson.
She has a backyard.
I can't remember who that is.
I don't
off the
know
top
her.
Of my head.
Ashley even sent us a video of Sydney Sweeney in a Hooters outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
from the show. Yeah.
That was a funny skit.
So there you go. Okay, I had to ask about that. Now we move on to something completely different. Completely different. But feel free, if there's another Sydney Sweeney out there that you think I should know about, send me the videos.
Absolutely.
All right, earlier we were talking about, like I said, something completely different. My dad's passing a few months ago. He was a great guy. We miss him a lot. And I was telling you a little bit about the process of going through his things and going through his old pictures and whatnot. It reminded me that there was a write-up a few days ago where people were sharing stories of the weird/interesting things that they found when cleaning out the belongings of a loved one who has passed. Whenever I hear these stories, it's almost always elaborate sex toys and hardcore pornography. That and video games. I hear stories of when someone passes and you got to go through their stuff. Ooh-wee, do you find those three things? Luckily, we didn't find any of that stuff in the old man's possessions.
That'd be uncomfortable.
But I've heard a lot of stories, maybe you've heard the same, of elaborate sex toys, hardcore pornography, and video games.
When my uncle passed, we found rolls of cash hidden all over his apartment and a ton of drugs, an S-ton of drugs.
That's fun.
Was the drugs unexpected, or did he say like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense?
As a lifelong drug dealer, they were not unexpected.
Okay.
We had a feeling, and he died of an overdose, so that's another reason they could assume there'd be some drugs there. I saved a bunch for Wapple. That's how Wapple and I got tight.
That's nice of you.
But he was one of those guys who would just stash wads of dollars.
Yeah, just rolled up money all over his apartment, hidden different places.
Panic money, maybe emergency money if the S really hit the fan.
I don't know if he had a bank account, didn't have one, or I don't know what his deal was, but there's a lot of cash.
Feel free to share with us here at 651-989-9393 if you've had to go through grandma, grandpa, whoever it was. Sorry about your loss, of course. If you've had to go through the items that belong to a loved one and you found something interesting. Any of you guys have any stories?
No, not. I guess I've never really had to do that or done that.
You haven't had that step in life? Okay, I understand. Sure.
I'm glad.
Yeah, thankfully I haven't had to handle that quite yet.
What about your old man, Josh? Anything interesting?
No, nothing. I mean, a lot of books. I took his wallet. I just, as a remembrance, no cash in there. You know how we grew up. But yeah, nothing. Nothing
really
exciting.
Made you feel like the olden days.
Yeah, unless my mom
cash again.
Maybe my mom, went through on the first pass and took out anything that was scaring us. But yeah, haven't had a thing.
You got to have that one friend who understands the assignment that if anything happens to you untimely, that they go through, make the first pass, and get rid of all the embarrassing stuff before the family finds it.
Yeah, here's some places to check.
Yeah.
You got the wallet and the damn thing was empty. You're thinking, even in death, the guy couldn't leave me a 20, for Christ's sake.
Yep.
Here's stripping Sparky Jesus. His grandfather died at 83 years old, and stripping Sparky Jesus found quite a few reel-to-reel porno movies. That's awesome.
That's cool.
Just the old school.
Fire up the projector. I have a backyard viewing.
Naughty insurance agent Jesus said when his dad passed, they helped his mom clean out drawers and they found a penis pump. LOL, he says. Mom probably knew.
Pump wasn't mine.
Vintage Playboys. I'm just scrolling here through some of our listeners' answers to what they found in their loved ones, memoir bucket or whatever. How does a person say that? You know what I'm saying. You found in their chest or their whatever, where they kept their items. Playboys.
Financial advisor Jesus said his grandma had a Bible with about $500 in it.
Whoa.
That's how you do it.
I know, my grandma had some money hidden too. Maybe it's like a older person thing, just to hide cash around.
Well, yeah,
I think so.
My dad had some cousins and whatnot that he told me some stories about that. They didn't trust banks or this is going back to the
Great
30s.
Depression era.
Yeah, my grandma was definitely. She tells stories about that.
Going back to the 30s and 40s, they were different back then. Okay, I see some answers rolling in is how I should say it, on things that you found after a loved one passed. Let me read you some examples from this article. And maybe before we go, we can check in with the brother and sisterhood. Like I said, so far, the stories I've heard had to do with porn and video games. A friend of mine's older brother died a number of years ago unexpectedly. And that was the first thing he mentioned was he had no idea that his brother was so dialed into video games. He had every system that you can imagine and just game upon game upon. Okay.
If Dana, when you eventually pass and somebody has to come clean out your place, do you think they're going to think, oh my gosh, that's so sad, a child died?
They're going to be confused.
Leaving behind all these great Lego sets. That's so tragic.
Okay. We found out that my grandma had another child none of us ever knew about.
Oh, wow.
That's really hiding something.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
She
Take
put
it to the grave.
Kid was hidden in the basement the whole time. Had no idea.
No.
She put the child up for adoption. Not even my grandpa knew about it.
Ooh.
We tracked him down, and he was a very cool person. Okay.
Would you be a little insulted if he's cooler than you? Gosh, dang it.
Well, if the five of us are going to be insulted when someone is cooler than us, then
we're screwed.
We're going to have a hell of a battle on our hands.
Can't even walk into the gas station looking upset.
Why would it matter if a long-lost child was cooler than you?
Like if you found out and you have a long-lost brother and he's a lot cooler than you, makes more money.
Because you came from, at least one half of your parentage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's an entry. An example where grandma loved to take pictures. Okay. What's the worst case scenario here?
Oh, nudes. Grandma or grandpa.
Yep. Yeah, right. Okay. Grandma loved to take pictures. But it was a surprise, they say, when we were cleaning out her house and found a shoebox of nude photos of my grandpa.
Does that make it better or worse?
I don't know. Tough. She just liked to take pictures of grandpa when he was just walking around in the nude. It's better than seeing grandma.
Yeah. Definitely. There's no doubt.
Better than seeing grandma. A deed to a house that no one knew about. We found that in our grandpa's things. Oh, we found a deed to a house that no one knew about. After some investigating, we found out it was a house that he bought for his mistress.
Oh, boy.
That's tough.
That was half his age. He was 70. She was 32.
I want to leave some mysterious things behind that will make my family question me.
Just kind of creep some folks out.
Yeah, stage a few things.
Now, thankfully, he hadn't passed, but a buddy of mine, they were cleaning out when his parents were moving. He was helping them move, cleaned out some stuff, and found a box full of his dad, pictures of his dad with a whore.
Oh!
Which strained the relationship between he and his mom, you can imagine.
I bet it did.
Pictures of his dad with a whore.
A certified prostitute.
Engaged in sexual activity?
Correctamundo. Oh.
Mom never
And by the
knew.
way, somebody else was taking pictures, and the dad wouldn't say who was taking the pictures.
So there was a third party there. They weren't selfies.
I guess so, yeah.
Grandpas don't take selfies. I mean, this was back in the 60s.
Yeah, true.
So here we go again. Grandpa had a mistress. She was half his age. He bought her a house. He was paying her mortgage each month. They found all the paperwork for this. And he was also dumping $5,000 a month into her bank account.
Oh, that's a nice little life.
That's gonna piss Grandma off.
Yeah.
When she finds that out. All right, a little bit of this gets sprinkled into the mix too. Grandpa hanging on to old World War II weapons, live grenades in the garage. Good Lord. That would scare the hell out of me. My mother passed, says this individual, and she had a large collection of handwritten erotic campfire sing-along songs. Man, I bet if you gave me 1,000 guesses as to what we might find in Grandma's keepsake box, I don't think I would ever come around to handwritten erotic campfire sing-along songs.
Nope, wouldn't even cross my mind.
I could see you doing something like that, Ashley, like going to, if you're at a sleepaway camp or something. You've written those poems before.
That's true, I have.
He touched me on my boobs. He touched me. And we're singing this around the campfire.
The only reason this person says they don't own a fleshlight is they're afraid one of their kids will find it if he croaks.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what? That's something to think about, I guess.
Better to be safe than sorry, I think.
Maybe keep it in a lockbox.
A lot of money being left around. A lot of folks finding money in their grandma's house, their grandpa's house, in the freezer, in the bread box, hidden in the ceiling, this and that, like Josh was saying about his uncle. This is kind of cute. My grandma died recently. We found her birth certificate, and we discovered that she'd been spelling her name incorrectly her entire life.
That is adorable.
Fun Size Sheeza said her grandpa isn't dead, but he was a hoarder, and they had to clean out his full house and an apartment. They found a large metal ammo box full of Playboys. They asked him about it, and he said it was for a research paper. Apparently, he wrote a research paper on it.
All right, sure, Grandpa.
Hoarders, man.
I read for the articles, taking it to a whole new level there. It's a research project.
I know some hoarders, and I want no part of it. If I outlive them, I want no part of having to clean that joint out.
That is something to see.
Oh, one of my best buddies' mother passed a while back, and you've never seen anything like it. And it was funny because a bunch of us volunteered to help clean out her house after she passed. And of course, my buddy was well aware of what her place looked like. I was as well, and a couple other guys, but there were some other fellas who, volunteered to help. Mm-hmm. And before we walked in, my buddy looked him dead in the eye and said, I want to warn you, you've never seen anything like this in your entire life.
Stuff's about to go down.
And they said, I'm sure you're kidding. And when the dudes walked in, they said, you got to be kidding me. Just the goat path, you know? Goat path.
Our friends at Scene Clean Jesus, he told us, I don't know if you guys remember, but when they came in studio, he told us how bad some of those hoarder homes can be.
Yeah.
Like really, really bad.
Dangerous, too.
Yep.
We've got someone who found out after Grandpa died that he was in the CIA and nobody knew about it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that is sweet.
Awesome. And this might be the coolest of them all. Found out that my grandmother was a spy during World War II.
Whoa. What?
They found documents and a gun in her dresser. They say Gam Gam was a badass.
Oh, I'd be kind of mad that I never knew before she passed away.
I want to hear those stories.
Yeah,
Me too. Yeah,
exactly.
You're hanging out with Aldo, what was it? Aldo Rain and the Inglourious Bastards or something like that.
They just eat because they eat everything. Anything in their path, they'll eat, including each other.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
No, this is pretty damn interesting. It really is. Appreciate all your text messages. We always have to apologize for the ones that we can't get to. So many come in at a time, and right now our text machine's kind of struggling. We're having a lot of technical difficulties around here. It's really strange. We never deal with these kinds of things.
But even for dealing with this quite often, it's been a weird day with everything.
Yeah, it has.
We never have technical problems, so this is all new to us. We're not sure how to deal with it. We were talking about, it's a terrible thing. One of your loved ones passes away. Hopefully they've had a good run. And, if you're one of the folks close in the mix, a family member or a close friend, you got to go through their stuff, separate the clothes, this and that, their memorabilia boxes and whatnot. Some great stories coming in about some of the interesting things you might find after they pass. Here are some text messages I've received from our listening audience. My grandpa, says this listener, checked out. We found every gift card he had been given over the last 20 years.
That's exciting.
What is it about us that when we receive those gift cards, we just don't have the presence of mind to actually put them in our pockets and go out and use the damn things?
Oh, I sure do.
clue.
I'm pretty good about it.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
My boyfriend just was like looking for his stash the other day of
I'm
all of
terrible
them,
at it.
and they're from like 3-4 years ago, and some of them are like they got a lot of money on them.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
Don't some of them expire too?
I thought they couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, your boyfriend and I, and my friggin' wife, we have that all in common. We
You
have
guys
these.
can go shopping together.
Every once in a while, we'll be cleaning out the house and just pile up 5-6 of them. Remember this one, and go try, see if there's any money. I don't know. I'm bad at it. I never put them in my pocket, and I almost never use them.
We gave my mom a nice-sized gift card for her birthday. Over the weekend, we met her for her birthday, and she acted as if we created this giant pain in the ass for her.
Oh, jeez. I'll take it off her hands.
Yeah, she's like, they charge fees, and then they don't work and all this stuff. I'm like, Mom, they're working just fine. But yeah, she acted like I just kicked her in the face or something like that.
Here are some more texts from our listeners. Now, this one doesn't directly have to do with anyone dying, but it's so well written, I wanted to share it with you anyway. This listener says, before my grandparents passed on, there was a situation where he was helping his grandmother, and she said to him, they were looking for something, and she said to him, go in that top dresser drawer and grab me my... And then Grandma said, no, not that dresser drawer.
Uh-oh.
But the listener says, it was too late.
Oh, no.
I had already seen the hilariously mediocre dildo.
Oh, no. Grandma.
Mediocre.
I just love how he described his grandmother's dildo as being hilariously mediocre.
Door-hanging Jesus has checked in about his father-in-law. And again, sorry for the passings. These are funny stories, but obviously somebody passed. My 88-year-old father-in-law had a couple vibrators for his 65-year-old wife. Lots of Viagra, too, he said.
Oh, wow. That's how you do it.
Yeah, you got it. I wonder what age I'll start needing Viagra. Probably sooner than I'd like.
Yeah, probably sooner.
Don't you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You've worn that thing out at this point. We know, we all are very familiar with your wife's sex drive.
Yeah, well, it's not what it used to be, but man, for a while it was annoying. Built like a house, hung like a mouse, Jesus said. My grandma recently went to the nursing home with bad dementia. We had to go through her home and found a lot of money, easily over $50,000.
Whoa.
Cash in every pocket of clothes, every page in a book, small gold bars, silver, everything. He said, we also found bugs everywhere.
Oh. The first one was more exciting than the second
one. A lot of bugs everywhere.
Gross.
That's hilarious.
This one's related, so I wanted to get to this one from Up at the Crack of Dawn. Jesus said his grandpa was from the Great Depression. When we went through his house, we found coffee cans full of money and guns all over. The kitchen table looked like a drug bust. It equaled about $10,000.
All right, how do you think you deal with this? One of our listeners says they got an uncle who didn't find out he was adopted until they cleaned out their dead grandma's nightstand.
Man.
Can you imagine that? Who am I?
Yeah, it's got to just be a mind F.
A friend of mine, he's 49, and he's adopted. He recently reached out to his birth parents. For the most of the time I knew him, he wasn't too interested, but he got interested. I think once he had a kid, he decided he wanted to meet him.
Yeah.
And his dad had no idea he existed. No clue
that
whatsoever.
is so crazy.
Dude.
I kind of feel when the house I grew up in, my dad was the same way. Had no idea I existed with the lack of attention.
Tough to keep track of them all.
One of our listeners' grandmothers had boxes and boxes of JFK memorabilia, not the conspiracy stuff, just People magazines and any kind of magazine with his face on the cover.
Oh, like borderline stalker vibes?
Well, yeah,
he kind of had that. He was kind of like that type of guy, right?
Yeah.
Like a celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
Women from that generation were wild for JFK. They just thought he was the sexiest. So more or less, dude, you found your grandmother's spank bank.
I think so.
That's a good point.
This person said when cleaning out my 85-year-old aunt-in-law's bedroom, found a body massager, 6-inch vibrator, Astro Glide, and a crispy tea towel. Oh. You don't want to find a crispy towel.
No, never.
God dang.
Snap the thing in half.
Nuclear Pharmacist Jesus has a sweet story connected to our conversation about going through the belongings of a past loved one, someone who has checked out. Nuclear Pharmacist Jesus says it was actually very sweet. My grandmother never kept a journal, but she had written and saved some thoughts about me from when I was a baby, talking about her joy at playing with me and my personality as an infant. I bawled my eyes out when I saw them.
Dang, I feel like I'm going to bawl my eyes out and have nothing to do with it.
And then he found the dildos.
Oh,
no, he didn't. I'm kidding. I made that up. He didn't find any dildo.
Why did you keep those in the same spot?
There's a story that was going around over the weekend about a grandma who saved 20 years of voicemails from her granddaughter. 20 years and just recorded all of them.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that is
cool.
really cool. I never delete any of my voicemails.
I delete them instantaneously.
Yeah,
without even listening to most of them.
I have voicemails from my mom from probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And it's kind of nice to listen to them sometimes. Everyone starts out the same. Hey, Ashley, it's Mom. No way. No freaking way.
That throws you every time. All right, I have one more on my end. Great text from our listeners on the subject, and thank you again for helping us out. Listener says, this one I found really interesting. Listener says, my dad passed, found 6 checkbook boxes in his closet, but there were no checks in there. Just piles of Polaroid pictures of naked women. All kinds. Tall, short, big, little, white, black. All of them butt-ass naked in any and every position possible. The toughest part was the blanket that all of those women were ass naked on was on my bed at the time we found the pictures.
Oh, boy. That's where you immediately jump in the shower.
Oh, yeah. Like an Ace Ventura where he lights his clothes on fire.
There's 250,000 miles of random ass on that blanket right there on your bed at the time.
Crazy Fish Guy Jesus had a friend pass in January. They were going through her stuff and found a ton of dominatrix stuff, gimp suits, whips, flogs, etc.
Gimp suits?
I wouldn't. That's something I wouldn't expect. Well, Ashley, you said you've got like paddles and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've got some stuff.
Hell yeah! Don't act so shocked over there. How are we supposed to know who the gimp is if they don't wear a suit?
That's true.
Supernatural Jesus said, when my grandma passed, she'd saved all her cash from serving tips her whole life and hid them in her house. Took my mom and aunts 3 weeks to find about $30,000 in change in small bills. They were hidden in the crawl space of the attic.
That's got to be incredible.
Yeah, what the heck?
Let's go to Chi-Chi's or something.
Could you imagine, like,
Rocky Rococo.
You buy a brand new home and then you're kind of looking through everything and you find all that money? That'd be so cool.
That would be pretty cool.
If you bought the whole home?
Yeah, the whole home.
I've thought about that before, Wapo, like at new places I've lived at. Like, I wonder if they hid something here.
You guys watch too many movies.
One of the places, when I moved out of the house I lived in Bayport, I took one of like the ceiling tiles, or I guess not a ceiling tile. Well, yeah, those stupid sheetrock ones, the cheap ones.
I'm going along with it.
And took it down, and on the inside wrote, like, signed my name and wrote the date and, like, put it back up there. So if anybody ever, like, redoes the ceiling, they'll find it and be like, oh, hey, this girl used to live here. Cool.
A contractor buddy of mine has always been tempted to half bury a skeleton, like under a deck that's just on the ground. You know? So they rip the deck up, they'll find a half buried skeleton, and then before we had some stuff drywalled at our house, my son wanted to draw a penis on one of the studs. I told him not to, but he wanted to do that very, very badly.
Son, your penis drawings are not acceptable. I'll do it myself.
Like, you can write your name, no penis drawings. Happy birthday to East Winstead Jesus from Sits on Baby Jesus, and then happy 13th birthday to my nephew Don.
The 93X half-assed morning show. 93.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Get started on your spring cleaning checklist now. With the weather warming up, it's the perfect time to get your AC tuned up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get $40 off a furnace or AC tune-up, or double your savings and get $80 off when you get them done at the same time. Visit standardheating.com to save now.